probably had the funniest ad libs in like rap history.
She took a little mix it with the chill out, and now she's saying she's seeing 3D, bro. It sucks too because that song is honestly that Hotel Lobby is actually a banger.
Yeah, it is.
It's like that is some shit you can ride to, like you can play, and like I think everybody that knows like you can literally like get hyped to it. Like that's a song like I would get hyped like before a game if we're like warming up. I'd love for that to be playing in the layup lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm definitely doing the finger roll above the rim.
Or either that or you're doing one of those ones where you go up and you lay it up, but like then like you do the two-hand smack on the glass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then but you're dancing on the other side. Like you're getting ready for the game. You're getting ready for the game.
Yeah, nice little layup line, little. You know another great layup line song?
What?
Damn, Youngbloods.
Yeah, I can see that too. What? Hey, which by the way, and I guess once Mr. Turner's back, we still have to do that show.
We do.
Yeah, we still got to do that show. But that's a good one. So the funny story. Justice used to DJ our games. He would be the one that would do the music for halftime, and obviously he had to either do, depending on what the song's content was, he had pretty much it was instrumentals, but like because Christian school, but like we used to open up. There's a couple of songs we would always listen to, but we would open up with "I Want to Rock Right Now," the Snoop Dogg version, "Right About Now." Do Snoop Dogg, but like that would be one that
I want to rock right now. That too short on there.
We do "Oh Let's Do It," but the Lil Wayne, the No Ceilings Lil Wayne version, but clean. Because that would get "Oh Let's Do It" is another one that like gets people like.
Yeah. Let me tell you what. I just realized on Chris Long's podcast, they have a segment called Layup Line. And like they talk about, like they play like a song. It just took me to now to realize why they call that layup line.
Why?
Because it's music for the layup line.
Oh.
Like,
well, yeah, I get it. Right.
Yeah, the layup line's a fun place, and like I need to go play in like some old, like some men's league, like a fucking Christmas tournament or something, so I can get me a little layup line action going.
Just a little something, huh?
Yeah, just a little music, little layup line, little finger roll, little, because you don't slap the glass with two hands like playing. Like you rarely do that.
You're doing shit you would not do in the game. I mean, that's why LeBron even would do. Now, I've seen LeBron go between the legs in a game, but like, but guys are doing like just these like, especially in high school.
Well, I think they can dunk now warm-ups in high school.
See, but yeah, because even for us now, granted, I'm not somebody that I've dunked and stuff before, but like I wasn't somebody that would just always get a clean flush. Mm-hmm. And so even to spice it up a little, I'd do the layup line, the person coming to rebound, I'd throw it to him, and then he'd throw me an alley-oop, and I'd just like, you know what I mean? You add so much flavor, like shit that you're probably not going to do in a game. You're doing it like even the just going between like just ridiculous moves that you're not going to do. Like
between the legs, spin, jerk it back, up and under. It goes all the way over.
Well, hell, even if you're not, because most niggas ain't dunking between the legs in high school, even between the leg layup.
You're not doing that on a fast break.
Exactly. Even if you're wide open, you're not. Why would you? And you could be up 20, but coach is going to take you out, especially if you're not like this D1 behemoth that's going to, Villanova here. Like,
and practice is going to be terrible for you.
Yeah, because he's going to be like, it's a game, right? He's like, all right, well, I got a game for you. It's called Suicides All Practice. My coach did that to me once on a Saturday morning practice.
What did you do?
I swear to God, man. I don't even remember what happened and why he did it, but he's like, you're running. He said 50. That's how my coach used to talk. He was like 50, and I had to not drop and give me 50. No, 50 suicides.
Were they timed?
No, man. He wasn't even realistically counting, but because he's running practice, I'm doing it, on the sideline out of bounds. But yeah, man, I don't even remember. But the crazy part, whatever I promised, it wasn't even warranted. I didn't push anyone. Like, it wasn't. I didn't say nothing to him. It was just something that I don't know. He was mad that day.
We used to do this thing if we got texts. It was like a combination of defensive slides, suicides, and barrel crawls. And you had like 7 minutes to do all of it. And if you did not get that shit done in 7 minutes, it didn't count.
Wow. Who was counting? The assistant coach?
No, it was after practice.
Oh, so he's watching.
Yes.
So many memories just in general from especially high school ball. And the worst part is that we blew out a lot of the people we played. All right, so like I said, 36-2. We probably played in 4 close games all year. And a lot of them were in the playoffs. But our region was cupcake. I don't even have to lie about it. Hell, it's still, the scores are still on Max Pro. We would beat teams 96-25. Yeah, bro. The whole team played. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of would get some numbers. Oh, yeah, we got to throw that in there. Even though I don't really know what you want to talk about regarding that type of basketball. But
I just think we should give it some light, The league doesn't get talked about enough, and
that's true.
And it'll never grow if people don't talk about it. But we're not gonna open with that now. We're gonna bury it. It's gonna be it's a B-side now.
We've already opened up here with high school basketball memories.
Right, but what time?
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
So you'd like to open and discuss some decisions made by Arthur Smith after we fumbled our opportunity, or really Washington picked off our opportunity to take the lead in the division.
Or even better, we gave Washington the opportunity to do it. But yeah, I think that Arthur Smith, you're somebody that I am behind, and I still think that you're the right guy for the job as of now. But it was the most Dan Quinn-esque play call that I had seen since Dan was gone. And, the Falcons have a knack for figuring out ways to lose games that they either could win or should win. And let's paint the picture. It's 2nd and goal. About a minute, maybe it was a minute, 2 seconds left on the clock. 3 timeouts. Washington used their final timeout after the first down play call to where they had no more timeouts, and which should tell you everything you need to know about the situation. That defense called that timeout because they needed to preserve as much clock as possible, because basically, if they score and they don't miss the extra point, or we don't block the extra point, essentially we need as much time as possible because we need to be able to get down the field and score. If you're the Falcons, you've got all 3 timeouts. It's 2nd and goal on the 4th. You're a top 5 rushing team in the NFL. All of your running backs are pretty good-sized guys, so they're not we don't have Darren Sproles back there running the ball. Marcus Mariota, your quarterback, probably does more damage with his legs than his arms to begin with. And in that situation, we decide, we're gonna throw the ball. There's so much that's wrong with that. And I think that somebody like Arthur Smith should know a little bit better, considering the circumstance surrounding that period. Not just actual in game, but how important that game is. You win that football game, you're back at 500, you're in first place today, and more importantly, you got the inside track on a wild card spot, because not only do you have a tiebreaker between you and the Washington Commanders, but Seattle loses that day. They're 6-5. They've already had their bye. You haven't had your bye. You got the inside track because of Seattle. Like I think we all believe that they're going to do. They're going to be a competitive team, but like realistically, Seattle's not going. But you have a tiebreaker against them. So you've got the inside track on a wild card spot, even if you don't somehow win the division, even though you become the first place team in the division. And I just think that in that moment that he knew better than to draw up certainly that type of pass play. And I think that Cordero was open, but your quarterback can't make that. We've got to know our personnel a little bit better. And I think in those rainy conditions, too, you run the football. Because if you get stopped, okay, now you got 40 seconds going out. Now you got 20 seconds, 2 downs, and 3 timeouts. What's so bad about that? You get 2 cracks at getting the right play call. Or who's to say you run the ball and then you get it on the 1? I mean, we don't know because he didn't do it. But I just think that analytically, especially the analytics people, the best possible play call was probably to run the football in that situation, and he didn't do it.
Well,
fuck you, Arthur. No, I'm kidding. Bad play call, Arthur Smith. Yeah, you keep doing that, you'll be just like DQ. You'll be back in a coordinator position. Maybe somebody will think that you deserve some trade because DQ's going to get a head coaching job next year.
Maybe he just move offices across the hall.
That too.
But I
can get Sean Payton. That's what they're going to
do. I didn't like the play. I liked the play call if Matt Ryan was still our quarterback because he was open. He was throwing it to our best player.
Okay.
And I mean, does Cordero Patterson ever not fall forward? You know, so even if he gets hit, which he should, I don't think he would have even gotten real contact. It was just poor clock management because even if it's an incomplete pass, the clock's not running. We're in the red zone. We have our timeouts. We want to burn as much time as possible because that touchdown puts us up 1. Mm-hmm. And we don't want Taylor Heineke to get a PI or Scary Terry to do what we know he can do. And then they get a walk-off field goal.
Yeah.
Like, we want to bleed as much clock. So I didn't understand passing. You've ran the ball the entire game. It was a freaking slobber knocker out there. And like, just keep knocking slobber, dude. Stop trying to get cute. But we see it so often with so many of these offensive play callers. They get too cute now. It's like, how can I jazz it up? Hey, DQ, you're not an OC trying to get a job. You're not an OC trying to get a head coaching job. You have the head coaching job. Don't get cute. Get wins. If you get wins, you keep your job. And if you want to, and if your tread runs off, you become a head coach, right? You know what I mean? Like Sean Payton built up enough equity in New Orleans and in the league that he's a head coach. No one would dare call Sean Payton to be a coordinator. No one would dare call Mike Tomlin to be a coordinator. Nobody would dare call Andy Reid to be a coordinator. Hell, nobody would call Chip Kelly to be a coordinator. He's not. He's a head coach. And it's okay to get cute as a coordinator to become a head coach. I get it. But once you get that HC by your name, when you look up at the Wikipedia, there's like there's no letters beside that position. It just says Atlanta Falcons. Bro, get wins. That's all that matters. And I just don't understand why he got away from who he is. I mean, we'll be down 18 and he'll run the damn ball. Yeah,
and that's kind of it's the identity of the football team, correct? I mean, so like it's just one of those things where in that situation, I could see. I'm gonna be honest with you. If it was 3rd and goal, I could see that play call. It was 2nd and goal, man, and it was 4-down territory. I mean, you knew if you didn't get it, you knew that you had 3 downs to get it done. And for the first play call to be, all right, we're gonna throw what would that be? It's not a curl, maybe for the running back. Like that's kind of what it seemed like a running back curl, because he was in the backfield next to him. Drops back, goes through, and kind of curls in to get the ball. And I don't know. Know your personnel. Marcus Mariota. It's not that. Why not even if you're going to throw it and give them time to get the ball and even kick the field goal? Which, like I said, I'm just against it because my thought was this when Washington called the final timeout, they might let you score just because they don't want to not have the ball. And even if Riverboat Ron believes in his defense to get 2-3 stops for 4 yards, man, it's so disappointing. And I don't know, Lee. It was just one of those things where you do get frustrated because you sit there, you're rooting for this team, you're invested in this team, and
you bet on this team.
Yeah, you put money on this team, and on top of putting money on them, I mean, you give them money. You're a donor. You're a donor for the team. I mean, you help pay somebody's salary.
Hey, and Arthur, where are our gifts? This is bullshit. These little seat gifts we've got this year, total bullshit. Can you reward your season ticket holders?
Tell that son of a bitch.
And Arthur Blanks. I was listening to a clip of Michael Vick on Shannon Sharp's podcast. When he declared bankruptcy, one of the debts he owed was his signing bonus.
Really?
Yeah. He said that's actually the biggest reason why he had to file for bankruptcy, because the signing bonus was like the debt that put him on super interesting. I'm actually going to listen to the whole thing because he was talking about people thought I had my money messed up, and I didn't. I had an $8 million. He's like, I did the bankruptcy thing, and I had this $8 million investment, and I still haven't found that money yet.
I'm surprised that someone at his stature wouldn't be able to locate it. I mean, I guess when you're making so much of it, I guess that could go missing. I mean, it's not like us losing $100 or something, right? Like, say you had $100 like in your pocket, not in your wallet, and then you're like, yeah, where'd that 100 go? Like
that happened to me not too long ago. I put 100 in some sweats, and I was like, I'll put it in my wallet when I get to it, later. Later never happened.
I've taken my clothes out of the dryer, and when I haven't worn a pants, I have black jeans that I don't wear all the time, but then I put them on. I found a 50 in the ass, and I was like, ooh. I was like, that's nice. I can use it. I can go out and use this. Not like a ones, couple ones. You left the strip club or something. You had some extra ones and you just stuffed them because you didn't want to give them to that stank bitch. That's got her G-string all up in your fucking face. Begging for more money.
How the strip club, right? And you're not a big strip club guy. I was once a big strip club guy. Just how disgusting of a place is it? As much as we try to act like we are just these advanced human beings, right? We are all sick beings who want to fuck. Because you go in that strip club and you look at whatever type of woman you're into, they're there, depending on where you go.
Yeah.
And
but specifically in Atlanta, Georgia, where much like rap, a lot of people consider this to be I know people think Houston too, but basically a capital for it.
Yeah, we got the scammers. Support it.
It was scammers, drug dealers,
rappers, corporate,
celebrity strippers, basically. you know.
And you're just sitting there, or you're standing there, depends on what strip club you go to and how they treat you, the regular folk. I've learned that strip clubs outside of Atlanta are a much more enjoyable experience because you don't have to pay for the bare minimum. Like you can actually sit down and be comfortable. They're just shaking their ass and their breast. Sometimes they're opening up their woman part, they're opening up their vagina.
Give you the butterfly.
Yeah, and you're just throwing your hard-earned or hard scammed money at them. And it's like acceptable like outside of being in the clergy, there's no career where it's just not where it's like frowned upon to go to the strip club.
It's literally a donation pot, right? Like I know it's, hear me out. I know it's weird to look at it that way, but I know you're talking about going to basically something where a donation is going to be made tomorrow, Boys and Girls Club, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing, but the cause is ass. Because you want to see it. You're like, man, I'm in here, and that's the etiquette. That's kind of it's.
We lost him for a second. I don't know what happened, but yeah, no, the strip club conversation is a wild one. Just think about it. You'll leave your lady at home just to go look at these strippers. And I'm sure there are some people who want to touch and do all of that and do a little bit more. I'm not one of those guys. I like to leave them where they are. But go ahead, because I was just talking about how crazy it is. You'll leave the ass you have at home to go spend money to look at ass that you're not going to leave with.
Right. And then even more importantly, even with the ass that you have at home, at that point, what is kind of the point of going? Because unless you're cheating, some of them you can bring home. But if somebody's already at home, you're not bringing anyone home anyways. And it's another thing, like, okay, put it this way. I have never, seriously, in my entire life, been the guy that has been like, let's go to the strip club. Now, for homecoming, I did want to get lunch there. That might have been the first time I've ever been like, I suggest a strip club. But the only reason I suggested it is because, one, Magic City is not even half a mile from my house. Yeah. But then, two, I've never been to a strip club for lunch. And, of course, three, Magic City is supposed to be known for their world-famous wings that I've never had. And so I want to try the lemon pepper luge.
Hold on, bro. You didn't get no wings? You didn't get no wings when you came to the bachelor party?
No. Did y'all have that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get any.
Yeah, there's a nice spread in there.
I've never had Magic City's food, like anything from there. But certainly the only thing I would get was wings and fries, you know?
Hey, how about this?
And you know what? Here's the issue.
Hey, listen to this. We were just talking about basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of my partners just texted me because he's coaching a charity basketball tournament in Cartersville. And he was like, I got a spot for you.
What's the spot?
No, on his charity basketball team.
I
just might go. Shake out the old legs a little bit.
You better ask him as long as is it jerseys and everything? Is it official or is it shirts and skins type thing? Well, I'm assuming if it's celebrity, they almost have to give you all jerseys.
What charity? I don't say celebrities.
Charity, not celebrity, but charity. Yeah, I meant charity. But what I was gonna say though, charity basketball. Like I said, it's charity. It's a donation when you go there because you're literally donating the ass as opposed to the good cause is the ass. That's the donation, right? Like I get to see this because whether I've got somebody at home or not, or I'm sleeping around like I'm fucking a bunch of chicks, like I don't necessarily have a partner. I can come here and no matter what, there's going to be, whether my girl doesn't have this type of ass, titties, or isn't going to do this type of stuff. And in some cases, depending on the strip club, you can get a show. You can actually get an impressive acrobatic show.
And
right?
so,
and that to me is what, if you're paying for anything, it's those type of strip clubs.
So, and that's where I actually fell in love with the strip club in San Diego, right? Because my first run-ins in the strip club were obviously in college in Atlanta. And you go, okay, you're naked twerking. And I have to pay for you to twerk on me, where I could just go to the club and it's not naked twerk. But it's
Not
close.
even really twerk though. I mean, it's
Huh?
like, is it even really twerk? I guess a lap dance is, but like, they're not even thinking about it. They're not even like, getting into your penis, right? They're really
I don't know. I speak for yourself.
I tell you what, where I've gone, the lap dances, yes, they're sitting on, like, I don't know. There's like,
I know there's a difference. Like,
they're not, to me, like grinding and like twerk, like it's like, I don't know. It's a little bit, and they can be intimate because you're paying them, right? But like, I don't know. It just depends.
Right, so look,
They're doing a lot of penis grabbing and talking and like, so what do you hear? Like what do you do? Like they want to figure out if you can give them more money.
Like, so here's the thing. Back in San Diego, I was in a dark spot in life and became a regular at a strip club.
Okay.
I'm talking about the bottle girls, security, you know what I'm saying? The early night shift, the late night shifts, the Tuesday crew. Like, I was in a strip club 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
And some of these nights, bro, I only spend like $20. Like, I'm coming in there, I'm watching Monday Night Football, I'm eating, I'm having a drink, and I'm sitting there just like talking, and then I'm leaving. Because I went in there one time, I threw a couple dollars, and I threw less than what it looked like, but you throw in flurries, right? Big heavy flurries. And met this one lady in there, and she walked up to me, she's like, "Hey, you want to lap dance?" I said, "Look, come back when I'm drunk. Give me about an hour." She came back when I was drunk. She's like, "You drunk yet?" Like, you remember? Yeah, so whatever. But like, she was a great pole dancer. And that's why I liked going there, is because there were a lot of great pole dancers where, you got them like moonwalking all the way down.
It's almost like it's like you're amazed because you're like, yo, how are you doing that? Like, you have the strongest core I've ever seen.
Exactly. Then like, you got the girl who was like sliding down the pole face first and stops like a foot before the bottom and like flips off into a split. And you're like, that's talent. You deserve to get paid for this. You are talented. You are not just that fine, thick girl who can shake her ass, so you decide to go down the street and become a stripper. Like, you practice this. Like, you definitely have a pole in your house. You're going to the gym every day. You know what I mean? Like, you are taking care of yourself. And in San Diego, there's no pressure to get like fake bodies. It might be some fake boobs here and there. But these are natural girls with natural bodies.
Was this a black strip club or was it mixed?
It was mixed. It was mixed, but it was heavier on the black side.
Okay. A lot of hip hop music.
And honestly, the best DJ in San Diego, when he was like doing like the black girl stripper sets, because now some girls are really going out there to pour some sugar on me. It's like, all right, it's time to go to the bar. Ain't nobody trying to listen to this shit. But like, they would play like all the new stuff. Like when Mask Off came out, I went to the strip club the night that album dropped, and he was playing Mask Off.
Mask on, fuck it, mask off.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Another funny strip club story. I need to get off this. When I would go to like the little lap dance area, right? Like they had like a lap dance. You had to go to the back. You just didn't get your lap dance in front of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like to me.
I don't know. No, they had cameras back there, and security was be walking around.
Well, I'm not saying they were fucking you. I'm just saying they're special lap dances.
Yeah, if a bad song came on, I'd be like, "Hey, stop! You're not getting paid for the song. Now we can wait for another song to come on, but like, pour some sugar on me. Pour some sugar on me ain't doing it." But like, as you build rapport, that like wave top of the lap dance turns into like the real actual grinding where you feel butt on your junk.
The friction.
Yeah, you feel the friction and you get the excitement.
Now, I'm not mistaken because I've been to one California strip club in LA. I'm almost certain that this is how I remember it, the rule. Either there's no alcohol served and they're naked, or there's alcohol served and they're not naked.
Right.
Correct?
So this was alcohol served and they were topless and their little G-strings, because we tried a couple of the naked, fully nude strip clubs, and the quality wasn't that high. Like the women, you're like, ew. And then I got to go outside and drink my drink, then come back in. No, I want to have I was going through a Remy Martin phase. I want to have my Remy on the rocks right here as I'm looking at your naked breast or in your thonged ass.
I just like how you're putting all this, because we're using the most technical terms of this stuff. Penis.
Well, I mean, it's a real conversation, right? Like people go to the strip club, and the strip club can be fun, but I just say it's a lot better when you like have your strip club girlfriend in there.
That, or even homegirls. Like as a guy, if you come in there, especially if they look good, right? Or like,
what I mean by strip club girlfriend, I mean
like they're attractive homegirls. It makes it funner for everybody. And one of the things that, similar to a golf game, ironically, is also the business aspect. If you're going in there and you're actually talking about something about making money with somebody, it makes it even funner too, because you're spending money together and you're talking about making more of it. And then there's also this random, chick, like you said, in her G-string coming through, and there's butt in your face, and you're talking about making more money. And we know that there are a lot of things that motivate men. And I'm not saying ass does, but of course, when you're younger, everybody knows, like the reason, like I know for me, a part of the reason why I wanted to play in the NBA. I mean, I love playing basketball, but you knew you could get all the chicks that you ever wanted if you played in the NBA. And of course, there was the money, but like I don't even think, like, you thought about being rich, but you didn't really think about the dollar figure of what rich is. And especially today's NBA is totally different, how much more money they make. But like, that's like the thing. Like, you can have any woman that you want, like, type shit. So like, if you're sitting there and it's a business deal, it's just like being on a golf course and swinging balls. You're playing a game. You're being competitive, and you're drinking. All right, or maybe some guys have cigars. I mean, I've never gone golfing, but like, it's like a similar premise, except women are involved. Yeah, and as long as you're a straight man, you or gosh, I don't want to get canceled. Is straight the right term these days?
Heterosexual, maybe?
Heterosexual. Okay. That sounds a little bit more
because straight would mean that if you're not straight, then you're curved, and it's curved back. We don't want to get into that.
Yeah. Well, Lamar Jackson, he said something about telling somebody to eat a dick, and then they're like, it was a fucking homophobic slur. And it's just like, really? Because I guess the guy that said it was a guy. Now, if it was a woman, nobody would have had a problem with it, because it's just
be misogynistic.
They would have had a problem with it, because they would have been like, well, how do you know that she eats dick? What if she eats coochie? Like, at this point, we could critique any and everything everybody says. So I just want to catch myself before I fucked up. Heterosexual males on a golf course. It's a similar thing at a strip club. I think that it works the same way.
Yeah.
And those are more gentlemen's clubs than strip clubs.
Yeah, but it's
places like which we used to go after games, because you used to get in for free with a Hawks ticket or a Falcons ticket. Cheetahs. And they have great food.
Great food. Yeah, great food. I not a fan. I'd go for
like the women.
Huh?
You didn't like the women.
No.
They were
me. I don't like the vibe, the setup either. I didn't like the music.
It's for white people, kind of. That's kind of how I took it. But like, I liked it because there wasn't this harassment of, I'm shaking my ass, throw some money at me. Not that it's like a peer pressure type situation, but it's just like, well, what if I just want to, I don't know, you just sit on my lap and we talk for a little bit. I get to know you, you get to know me. Then maybe afterwards, I'm like, you know what? Go ahead, come on, shake your titties in my face, like you know what I mean, like something like that.
And that was the weekday vibe in San Diego. Like weekend, it's like, hey, change, you got some spare change, you got some spare change, you know. But on the weekdays, because sometimes I would be telling them strippers, I'm like, hey, you ain't making no money right now talking to me. What you here for? But let's get off this topic. I've spent a lot of time in a strip club and it was fun and I spent a lot of money there. And guess what? I don't regret it. So, huh? Do you want to? You want to? Talking about strippers. You want to talk about Deshaun Watson's victims showing up to the game? They're going to be at in the booth.
Well, I think that's a little fucked up to consider moving on from strippers to those type of women. They're just masseuses. You know, they were just there to rub this man's back, I guess his calves and stuff, anywhere where he had some soreness or some adjustments needed, right? Because they weren't even chiropractors, I'm guessing. Maybe they are chiropractors, but they also do massages. I don't know.
They weren't even massage therapists. They were just women who do massages on Instagram.
So they were IG models. Basically, their money laundering way of looking at it, right? That's some could argue.
Some could say
you have a masseuse service. If they even like had one, they're like, "Nah, you can cash at me or cash." Like, you know what I mean? It's not like hey, we take credit card payments and it's going to Chase Bank.
Some could say, I would not say that. I would not accuse these women of that, but some could say that it was a front for sex work. You are a masseuse with no certifications. And if you know anything about the sex work business, like the massage parlor is the biggest front for selling sex.
It's money laundering.
I mean, it's the biggest front. I mean, I
guess technically you are. They could say you're getting massage. It's just a vagina doing the massage to the penis.
Or a mouth or a hand.
That too.
Or feet if you're into that. Not me.
Me neither. I'm certain as long as you're the paying customer, you kind of can ask for what you want, and as long as it's not like
Well, no, you can't, because Deshaun was a paying customer and he asked for too much. Allegedly.
Lower. This nigga, hey, why was he, think about it, the way that they're making it sound. Now, he was never like front side up with his ass up. This guy was laying frontwards and getting massage in his upper thigh. Well, I guess in that case it wouldn't be lower, it'd be higher. But even if he was getting like rubbed on, like he's like, yeah, my ribs are hurting. And then he's like, yeah, the ab area. And he's like, all right, lower. Like, I'm not even making fun of because somebody could have a legitimate claim. None of us know. Now, we know how it panned out. Obviously, everybody got paid, which is what everybody really wanted. That's why they settled. That's why nobody took it further past the payments. Because that's ultimately it was, I think that I deserve to get money because he has money. Because if it was a Joe Blow, for one, they wouldn't have been there doing it. Let's start there. But then two.
Are you victim shaming right now?
No, I'm not. I'm just telling the truth, because if I was done wrong, I'd want to see him prosecuted. And even if my attorney says, well, what do you really want out of this? And I'd be like, nah, he fucking, at this point, what would you even call it? Because he didn't molest you. Like he didn't sexually assault you.
He intimidated me and made me do something that I did not want to do.
But what's the jail time for that?
When you're as rich as he is, probably probation and pay a little fine.
Well, even somebody that's not rich, which, like I said, they would have never been in there. They would have never been there if he wasn't rich. But my point is that they got what they actually really wanted. Was they want some more money so that they can afford to do the things that they want to do in life that they couldn't do beforehand. And this would be the biggest check that they've ever seen in their life, and possibly ever, that they will, unless they invest their money correctly. They can see a bigger check, but that's ultimately what it came down to.
And mansplaining here, right? Is what we're doing. We're mansplaining. If I was victimized by somebody sexually, this is me personally. And I know we all deal with pain and grief different. I would not show up to the game to watch this person be in a booth, because it's not like you're going out on the 50-yard line before the game and say, remember what this guy done, and it may actually get in his head before the game. And you want him to have a bad game. You want him to perform poorly, even though he has 230 M's in the account. But I don't understand what's the point. And it to me, and this is my perspective and how I understand it, right? To me, it seems like they are making it worse on other victims who are dealing with grief and who are victims of much more egregious things. Again, not to say how things affect people, but women who are, not something that's very subjective with what happened there. If you were not in that room, there's no evidence of what actually happened. It's his word versus many women's words, right?
Correct.
But dog, if I got sexually assaulted, again, I know I keep qualifying this. I don't want to look at my accuser like that. I'm damn sure not going to voluntarily put myself in a place where this guy who violated me is at, and then share it with the public so that everyone knows, and then I have to continue to deal with that entire day, because everybody's gonna know. Oh, those chicks in Tony Busby's box, those are the hand job girls.
They're the hand job girls. And I think what it is I think that because they are all represented by her correctly, right?
Tony Busby, he got them all.
And not her. Yeah. But they were all represented by the same person. And what it is he absolutely could have had contact with every single last one of them, and he requested a similar thing. I think that what it is they were like, well, if one person's going to get paid, we might as well all get paid. And that's why they all have each other's numbers to be together at the game, or half of them at least, that were like, I'm not done with this. Let's shame him more. Let's try and make a statement to the NFL and tell them, when the reality is that there's already shame on Deshaun's part, because there's going to be jokes made against wherever he goes, just like with Jameis Winston and crab legs. Like, people are going to just make jokes about it now the rest of his career, and he has to deal with it because it's an incident. Just like when people talk about Ray Lewis, they'll talk about murder, right? There's little stuff with a lot of NFL players. It sticks with them, but it doesn't really in reality. Like O.J. Simpson, as popular as he is, murder will always. And then even if not the murder, I mean, obviously he got convicted of stealing what was his, but which I guess, is it really theft if it's yours? I guess if it got sold and you weren't the one that sold it, you could say it wasn't. But then again, I think Drewski, right, on IG, fat black nigga from Atlanta. Shout out to him. He's from the East Side too. He's from he's a DeKalb Gwinnett product. He's from that, that Stone Mountain, Lilburn, Lawrenceville area. But point being, he made a joke I remember during the pandemic when OJ first got back on IG, and how he's like, hello world, OJ Simpson here. But then this, he would have a knife out, and then he'd be like, he's just doing some shit. And it's hilarious because it is just O.J. Simpson will never be looked at as the same, and he had a great. I mean, he was on the NFL. They put him on the NFL 100 team.
They had to.
Well, right. The numbers were undeniable. I think he had 2 2,000-yard rushing seasons. Correct.
I can check it while you're talking.
He's a Heisman winner as well. I mean, and I don't know if you were a fan of the Naked Gun movies, but obviously O.J. was in the Naked Gun. Those movies are. Leslie Nielsen's one of the funniest white men ever. May he rest in peace. He was in Scary Movie 3. He's great in that too. But point being, He was a character. I mean, he was in Hollywood. He did the Hertz commercials. I mean, OJ was America's favorite black man at one point.
He had four Russian titles, man.
And he played for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I guess later the 49ers, but played for the Buffalo Bills.
He only had one 2,000-yard season, but remember, he's a 14 game guy. He had an 1,800 season, a 1,500 season, 2,000, 1,200, 1,100 in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the best to do it at, well, some would say Jim Brown, but he was one of the best ever to have done it when he left the game.
Mm-hmm.
11,000 yards. Big stepper. Juice.
Man, a whole lot of steppers, and they step in.
But I mean, yeah, like once you do something, it's always going to be tied to you. And I'm not telling these women how to grieve by no means. I just say that as someone who's on the outside looking in, and I know we can't be skeptical of victims anymore in this country, but it raises skepticism, especially when you got to pay out. Now you're in a box that we know you can't afford because your famous lawyer is paying for it. And it's like, what are you doing? You parading these women around? Like, you can't get any more money out of him. We're not going to retry these cases.
What's supposed to be shame, Lee? It's shame.
Well, why do we care so much about shame?
Because we want people to not accept what has been acceptable, I guess, for years. And it be one of those, yeah, we took the money, but that doesn't change anything.
Like, you deserve to continue to be punished. And I go, well, where does it stop? Does his punishment stop when you feel whole again?
That's kind of how I view it. That's what it seems like.
So, and let's take it off of them. Let's just say in general, right? Because this is what happens now. Somebody can go do their time in prison, but we still want to hold everything against them. It's like, well, what do we punish them for if we're still going to treat them as if they didn't get punished for this, right? At what point do you heal yourself and move on with your life?
You don't. You don't. They don't. It's one of those things where I'm damaged for life, or at least that's what I want you to see. Even though I don't even know how much they got. They all got about 500K plus or something.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't disclosed officially.
If it was 20 something women, I mean, 500K is 10 plus million, right? So like, and then Tony had to get paid. So, Tony probably took about half.
Yeah.
So, because he's the one that secured the deal. He's the broker.
Well, yeah, Tony came in and said, hey, look here. I'm fine these girls, and we're all going to walk away with more money than we started with.
Tony's a bastard. No, I'm not mad at that, brother. He's an attorney, man. Shout outs to him. That's what attorneys do. And so, just another situation where they're bringing more attention to it because they don't want it to die, and not to. Because I am not a womanizer or a non-feminist, but at the same time, we've got to start calling a spade for a spade. And I think that's something that's been lost in our society of calling people out for what it is. And these women want more attention. Are they going to spend more of the check that Deshaun gave them to get the best seats in the house and hold up pink signs with all 10 rows together, with the message to the NFL and to Deshaun Watson and to the Cleveland Browns? Like, I mean, is that what they're going to do every week for the rest of his career? No. But I get it. It's a statement that has to be made on their behalf, and they'll go away quietly and enjoy the money until it runs out. And then once it runs out, everything's back to reality. Am I wrong? I mean,
Deshaun has $230 million guaranteed.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, he doesn't give two fucks about what happens, right?
Hey, so I've been listening to some of the national guys, and they talk about Oh yeah, and Deshaun Watson comes back. Yeah, bruh. Are you? Why are you still mad that he's playing? It's not your money. It's not your team. Even if it is your team, like he got punished.
And it was never anything criminal either.
No, there wasn't enough evidence because it happened behind closed doors. It wasn't forcible. It wasn't like
and none of the women said anything the day of or the day after it happened, based on what I know.
Right. There's no rape kits. It's like, hey, he used massages as a means to get sex. And like, I don't want to relitigate this because we talked about it all summer, but I think people should read the room better and understand the optics that they're giving off. And everybody's not some raging lib who thinks that like solidarity and making a stand and being in your feelings all of the time affects everyone like it does them. Like, oh, like Kim Kardashian, when she put out her Balenciaga statement about that sick shit that Balenciaga did, which I don't care what Balenciaga does because I can't afford Balenciaga. And if I could afford it, I probably still wouldn't wear it because I'm not into high fashion. Like it doesn't really do it for me. But she was like, as a mother, I was like bothered. How does this statement by a clothing company actually bother you or affect you? You know what I mean?
She didn't. Let's keep it up 100. She didn't give a fuck. What it is,
she's milking them for more money.
Do this, I don't support it. But outside of that, that doesn't have anything to do with me and them. Or me, well, basically, it didn't have anything to do with me to begin with. Because even though they give me money and I do wear their stuff, Nike has sweatshops and everybody wears that. And then she's like, checkmate. And just looks at the rest of the, because it's just like, so y'all support that shit? Making pennies to make shoes for y'all niggas and fucking Nike tech suits for you New Yorkers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or at least that's what's rumored.
Let me see. Let me see if I can find that statement. Cause I actually want to read it because I this wasn't on the docket, but the New York Post. Kim Kardashian breaks silence on Balenciaga scandal. Ooh, okay.
This dumb shit, man.
I have been quiet for the past few days, not because I haven't been disgusted and outraged by the recent Balenciaga campaigns, but because I wanted an opportunity to speak to their team to understand for myself how this could have happened. Okay, so you gotta call them real quick and say, what's going on over there?
Right, what are y'all talking about, man?
Y'all messing up my business now. You know I like y'all. And here she goes. As a mother of 4, I have been shaking by the disturbing images. The safety of children must be held with the highest regard, and any attempts to normalize child abuse of any kind should have no place in our society. Period. I appreciate Balenciaga's removal of the campaigns and apology. In speaking with them, I believe they understand the seriousness of the issue and will take the necessary measures for this to never happen again. As for my future with Balenciaga, I am currently reevaluating my relationship with the brand, basing it off their willingness to accept accountability for something that should have never happened to begin with, and the actions I'm expecting to see them take to protect children. So I'm just going to milk them for some more money.
Right. Essentially, if I'm going to fuck with it any further, then this is what's going to happen, guys.
Y'all are going to put out a statement that my publicist is going to write, and you're going to give me more money.
Sounds about right.
But like, these are the people that so many, especially like in the Black community, I'm going to speak to the Black community, for the Black community, because that's the community I'm involved in. Look up to these people. We look up to these celebrities like, oh, dog, did you hear what Kim K said? Back to what Dave Chappelle says. Who gives a fuck about what Ja Rule got to say about 9/11?
It's facts. I mean, I think somebody put in our group something about the Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion thing getting underway.
Oh yeah, I definitely said that.
I said fuck them both. I said neither gets bumped in my car to begin with, so I don't care. And like, it's more so I get it, like it's news because they're like, but even for me, Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, right? They're not even like, to me, neither of them are A-list celebrities. I guess Megan is trending it, but like she's not really an A-list celebrity either. She's not mentioned in the names of your Jay-Z's, and that's just a rap. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, right, is an A-lister. Like she's not in the same breath as people like that.
She's
not really an A-lister.
She's fake A-list, right? She's like built up by.
She's the new girl on the block A-list, bro. Like
she's like built up by like everybody around her. Like she's the first black woman in Forbes 30 under 30. But she made 13 mil, and I go, more money than I have. We'll start there.
Yeah, same.
But you go, that's not like there's somebody in tech world right now making way more money than her.
There's some fucking black girl or woman out here making more money than that nobody knows their name.
Yeah, she's some
because she gets on the mic and she sells hottie sauce for Popeyes.
Yada 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 yada. Where are my hot girls at? Real hot girl shit.
Well, the hottie sauce though. Let's not forget about try the new hottie sauce at Popeyes.
You want me to try? You want me to? And she said in her interview though, she does not get behind brands that she doesn't believe in.
So she believes in fried chicken.
I mean, she's black, right?
I haven't had Popeyes in so long, but nonetheless, mainly because the line is, even when I think about it, it's just, I don't, and I'm not going to park and get my ass up and go in. So it's just kind of like, well, oh well. But I think the last time I had Popeyes is when the chicken sandwich wars were going on.
I had Popeyes probably about 3-4 months ago. The Popeyes here is trash.
I'm surprised. I would think down south that they'd really be frying that shit.
Yeah, no, I was disappointed. I'm like, yo,
was it like rubbery chicken when you bite into your?
Nah, it just something wasn't right. It's like maybe at every other Popeyes, I feel like they don't follow the seasoning book that's given to them.
You saying it's like some nigga in there that's the chef is freestyling?
No, he's not freestyling. Like in most Popeyes, they freestyling. He's not freestyling.
Right. He's following by the book.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, this ain't KFC. I don't want no bland ass chicken.
You know what the world used to be? I haven't had KFC even longer, but like when I was a kid, I always thought that, and I don't want to sound like a white woman, but I always thought the Popeyes chicken was a little too spicy for me. But I used to love getting when my dad would get KFC, and I'm talking like when I was like 10. And when he would get KFC, I'm the type of person that would I only eat drumsticks. Like I've never been a thigh or breast guy, and everybody always would be like, "Well, that's the same shit for chicken tenders, right?" Because I like tenders. I didn't like bone chicken, but but it's easier to pull off of a leg, a drumstick, and I would take the meat off of that, put a little bit of kind of like what they would do with their bowl, put a little bit of mashed potatoes. If he got corn or something, maybe throw some corn and then put it in between a biscuit and eat it as a sandwich.
Okay, Eric Cartman, I like it.
Shit, that is how, bro. And honestly, today, I've never even gotten my daughter I've never gotten her fried chicken. And actually, first of all, I would go to Publix. I love Publix's fried chicken. Publix is and before they stopped doing, like, I don't know if they do it everywhere, but at the one that was in the neighborhood of my parents' house, they now, like, they used to make great Phillies, but now, I guess if you want a deli sandwich, but like now they don't have the stovetop, so they like put everything like in an oven. So I'm not doing, kind of like if you got a Philly at Subway or something, they're not fucking chopping it up. That's weird to me. Like, that's not a Philly.
No, that's a sandwich I don't want.
Yeah, it's an oven roasted sandwich. You're taking the roast beef, and maybe they are still chopping it, but they're putting it on there, and then they're putting it in the oven, and then they're giving it to me with cheese on it. It's just like, this shit is dry as hell. It should be some grease from the onions and air. Like, it's not a Philly. That's a low carb snack. Like, you know, it's a low carb.
So it's a Janae Aiko, a low carb snack.
Yeah, shout out to Big Sean.
Telling you. Yeah, that name. That's a name we don't speak in my house.
I understand why. That's there's an interview that she did. You remember, like, the reporter like asked her a question, and like she's like looking in the camera, and then he like stutters and like it's kind of breathless a little bit. Have you ever seen that? It's like it's not a meme. I guess it kind of is.
I haven't, but I would be him if I ever interviewed her.
It was some white guy, some dorky white dude, probably with glasses, that was like I don't even know what he was asking. It was on like a red carpet. And then like she just is looking in the camera, just like, God, she's so beautiful, but
and she's nasty. Like her,
like a nasty for you. Like, I don't ever show this in public, but behind closed doors.
But like in her lyrics, like she's so toxic. You know, she's psycho. She's gonna go through your phone, but she's gonna come back. Like her My Type remix verse. I like the BBC and some BBC type of nigga make a bitch DTD that's dropped and draws. I'ma lock them jaws. You ain't never had a bitch from Sloss. I was like, first time I heard that, I got a little excited. I said, oh, locked jaw, huh? Let me stop. My wife might watch this.
Let's move on.
Moving along. I could have gave you another sick transition.
Off the camera.
No. It was just a transition.
Oh.
I was going to go to WNBA. We're talking about women.
Well, perfect transition then. Let's keep it on the top of our fellow co-eds.
Yeah, so Kelsey Plum was on some podcast that shouldn't be as popular as it is. Yes, I'm a hater. I listened to about half of it. And here's what kind of took me, like what made it so interesting for me is these guys are interviewing Kelsey Plum, and I know more about the WNBA than they do. Like, she was talking about like the environment ain't what a lot of people think it is. Like, if you come to an Aces game, like you'll enjoy the environment, especially if you sit courtside, because there's a lot of shit talk going on. Like, these guys like, what, really? They're like, who's the nastiest shit talker? And I'm sitting in my head, Diana Taurasi. Everybody knows that. Like, she's a dog. They go Diana Taurasi, and they go like, what? Like, tell us what she said. And apparently, like, if you miss 2 layups, or it's like 2 back-to-back free throws, people get like pizza or some shit, right? And there's one girl like missed a free throw on her team, and then like the fans start like cheering, right? And she looked courtside and said, "Man, fuck your pizza." They're like, she said that? I'm like, bro, have y'all like not played a sport before? Like, have you never been around like women athletes? Like,
it's not any different, I think, certainly from a fan experience. If you're a fan, it's not any different. I don't believe. I'm sure you've been to WNBA. I've been to WNBA. We went to. It's a funny story because me, Josh, Julian. I mean, I don't need the anti-Semitic stuff coming on me. Josh, myself, and 3 other ladies went to for those that don't watch the WNBA, Game 5 is the Game 7. But we went to the Game 5 of the WNBA final. Lil Wayne was at the game, and he was there with Skylar Diggins, funny enough. But we went to a game when we were at Morehouse. We went to a Game 5 of the WNBA because the Dream were in it. Yeah. We got free tickets. They were pretty good seats. We were like on the 6th or 7th row in like the middle of the floor. And
for game 5 for the finals for free.
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't feel any different in terms of atmosphere for the fan experience in a sense of they're still chanting defense. There's still the same food at the Hawks game is being served. Like nothing was any different from that perspective. And if you're a fan, like if you're into it, you know the players, or you just like a good product or whatever. They're not. There's no difference from the game. So I don't see why the people on the podcast would be so shocked that, like you said, there's shit talking because that happens in all sports, maybe not gymnastics, but like pretty much in all sports, you're gonna see that. I mean, even in track, I've seen Usain Bolt or anyone else. They might point like if they're the way ahead or like slow down on purpose type shit. Like, and that's a form of disrespect / like shit talk, like especially in track, right? If somebody slows up because they already won the race, it's like, damn, he didn't even.
What Usain Bolt won, and he was like,
yeah.
So, but the piece that went viral was she said, "Hey, I'm not asking for equal pay. Like I shouldn't get paid what LeBron gets paid, but we should get the same splits that the NBA players get in their CBA." And then she went on to say, like, I don't even get paid for my jersey sales.
That's an issue though.
And I go, oh, it's college basketball all over again, huh? But on a serious note, I was like, okay, because you have a lot of people saying, oh, wow, that's messed up. They should get the same splits. Well, you get what you negotiate, for one. Two, how much revenue is the league making?
Actually, zero is not good. Let's do a minus sign. They're not making money.
So how do you revenue share? And then if I'm the owner, if I go, hey, right now this is a failing business model and we're keeping it because it would look bad for us not to have a professional women's league. Your jersey sales are probably the number three or four in revenue. We're probably thinking the media rights deal is probably the number one. Maybe ticket sales.
Well, and a lot of it is a part of the NBA negotiation since it's just a subsidiary of the NBA anyway. So the TV deal, for instance, right? They have to do it because, well, it's either that or you guys don't get the NBA. And so they kind of make it to where, like Derrick Rose's shoe deal, when he got like his brother or his cousin or somebody on to where as long as I'm signed to Adidas, you guys are going to pay him $250,000 plus to be, even if you pay him just to not be there, you're going to pay him. He's going to make a salary with you all. So it's this, I would have to imagine it kind of works the same way. I mean, I'm not in that circle, but like I have to imagine it's almost a similar thing for the NBA when they negotiate anything.
Right. And this is not anti-women, right? Because if they can go in there and they negotiate it, get it. I think they should get paid for their name, image, and likeness, just like college students should. Like if there's a jersey with your name on it, you should get the sales of that because that's you. Like when I get my Kelsey Plum jersey, right? She should get paid for that jersey because it's her. And I'm buying it because I'm a Las Vegas Aces and Kelsey Plum fan. And I've been a Kelsey Plum fan since she was at Washington. Like I actually enjoy watching her game.
She can ball.
Huh?
She can ball. I mean, it helps too that she's attractive as well. But like, I hate to always bring that up. I mean, I like women. So same way a woman could be like, I'm a fan of
Dwayne Wade because he fine. I've heard that so many times. Oh, look at Kobe. He fine. He's my favorite basketball player. I don't like LeBron. That nigga ugly.
I'm sure there are women that are Jason Tatum fans. Like, you know, like there's like certain stuff they look at a guy and they're like, man, that's an attractive basketball player. Or even in football,
Williams has no fans.
I tell you what, and I hate this fuck. Orlando Scandrick wasn't really a baller, but I'm sure that and they wear helmets, so you don't really see their face. But clearly, Drea was like, he's attractive.
He put a kid in her.
Oh, he had no choice, brother. Once he got there, he was like, I can't not do this. And then he did it a few more times after he did it.
Do you blame him?
You know he did. You know he did. And he enjoyed every single bit of what he got out of that.
Empty the sack.
Yeah. Shout outs to Orlando Scandrick. And then this is where we drop like the no, shout outs to that brother, man.
Yeah, no, like
he did good. He did good. If you don't have a baby mama that you're not gonna be with, that's about as good as it's gonna get.
Kudos, yeah. I mean, her smell stays on you for years. So like when you step outside, like they go, oh that's
he's still, because as far as I'm concerned, she's single still, but he probably still, whenever they see, I mean, he probably is still knocking those boots. He gets to get it at least once a year. I know he does.
After the birthday party.
Yeah, I will, because yeah, he could get a 5-star hotel, whatever. I'm sure, unless he's fucked his money up. But even if he's fucked his money up, he could still get a 5-star hotel. He's got boys that live in these cities and other women as well. But like, I'm sure, at least, even though, think about it, that's another thing that we'll have to do for a show once. The difference between the NBA and the NFL and how the NBA guys live. Those, they have, A, they get paid better, but then B, like, bro, the NFL niggas seem more family oriented, oddly enough. They seem more family oriented. Like the NBA, easily, all these guys, because it's the boys. Like the NFL, I feel like everybody, like, and we'll get to Russ, I guess, here soon, but like, I feel like the team, not all the team is all in on one thing.
No, they're not. Think about the NBA, though. Like, or NFL, you are home all week, then you leave. Then you leave for
Friday
the weekend
early, Saturday more than likely, Saturday morning, Friday night.
Yeah. You do weekend business for 17 weeks because some teams they put you in a hotel for home games, right?
Browns did it when I went to Cleveland 3 or 4 years ago. They stayed at the same hotel as us.
But whereas the NBA, it's like, hey, I'm gonna be home for a week. We got a 2-week road, whatever.
And these guys are going out because the coaches are too.
And they play at 7:30 at night. Like, yeah, that's what people don't be understanding. Like, hey, especially if I'm consuming in like moderation, and from what I'm hearing, there's a lot more smokers in that league than heavy drinkers. No, I want to go out, have me a couple drinks, smoke, and then see whoever I'm going to see, go back to their place or they come to the room, and then I'm gonna wake up in the morning, go to shoot around, sweat it out, hit the sauna, and then I'm gonna sit around and play 2K or Call of Duty until I got to come back for the game.
And then the brothers got their back. Somebody is the goody. I mean, I'm not saying Kobe was waking up guys, and I'm sure Kobe, of course, earlier in his career, probably was having just as much fun as everybody else. Well, we know he was to a degree, but like, but I've seen the Olympic story, and the Olympics are different. But like, the way that sounds, Kobe also sounds, because Kobe was clearly about his business, right? But like, there was somebody, I'm sure, that he looked out for the team.
Yeah,
and I say Kobe looked out for like Nick Young when Nick was out there getting fucked up, like, especially because he's a grown man. That would be the first thing I would say. I'm like, he's a grown man. He can get himself up. The fuck? He gets paid millions of dollars. He needs to wake up. The fuck? Like, you know what I mean? But no, seriously, because I mean, that's how I would look at it in my situation. But at the same time, there would still be, where's such and such? And then their room, and you're like, bro, get the fuck up. Like, come on, dog. Yeah. No, you're not showering. You're not brushing your teeth. Get your shit up, bro. We need to be on this bus in 5 minutes. And I'm not going to be late for you. Get up.
Yeah, so like, that's a podcast for a later date. But getting back to the WNBA conversation and mansplaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
We never talk, like, not we, because we do. The popular conversation around the WNBA is never around the finances that the league brings in. And if you're not going to start with the revenue that the league has or lack thereof, then I don't want to hear you talk about wages. Because if, as an owner, I'm saying, hey, I got to get bailed out, or I'm going to own both teams, right? I'm going to take on a project that may not be profitable. I don't really want to hear you say, hey, we want to share. We should get more better splits. I should go, well, you should make more money.
You want to know, and this is a crazy thing, and I'm not saying it's something I thought about. It's something that really more so just popped in my head.
Okay.
Kobe died, and he was a big part of the WNBA, certainly because he was just a big proponent of women's basketball. And I don't think that he was just a big proponent just because his daughter liked playing either. That helped, of course, because, of course, he's going to be more focused in it. But, like, I think that he just is such a basketball person to where he enjoyed women's – because women's basketball is – especially in college. I mean, I'm sure it's the same in the WNBA. Like I said, I don't really watch the WNBA. But he, was into that. Could you imagine if in a case like that, you're like you said, we're taking over a project where it's not making money. If the NBA was like, Kobe, would you mind being the commissioner? Basically, can you be the CEO of professional women's basketball?
I don't think he'd do it.
And that's how he takes it over. Now, I'm not saying business acumen, like maybe I don't know, but he could have surrounded himself certainly with the people, or the league itself would have surrounded him with the people, but he's the face. Don't you think that something like that is what the WNBA would need to be successful? Not necessarily getting Kobe. Kobe's just the first person that comes to mind because he was a supporter, that big of a supporter.
Somebody like Chris Paul.
Like you get somebody that is a basketball mind to spearhead the thing, and you don't want them to overshadow the league, and that be why you look at it. But if you get somebody that basketball fans around the world are familiar with, and they're able to look at it and say, well, these are some of the things I would tweak and change to make this league more viable, more profitable, something that will appeal to not just necessarily little girls that love basketball, but to grown men that love seeing us play. This is something that might change how they feel about the game.
So here's another, and Kelsey Plum, she kind of got into that, right? Because she kind of got like in the business of the WNBA. And she's like, hey, man, I don't want you to come to my game because you're supporting women's basketball. I want you to come because it's a good product. You like the product that you're seeing. I don't want your sympathy. I want you to like truly become a fan. And you remember back in the 90s when all the sports leagues, because we think of the NFL as like the god of sports now, but it wasn't that in the 90s. It's become that. And you remember how
it was so much more probably team oriented than anything.
Yes, but you remember
like the Cowboys, obviously, right? Like, hey, they were winning, but like it was certain team products in the league that everybody supported.
So you remember how they would do those different like challenges, right? Like at the
quarterback challenge.
Yeah, you had a quarterback challenge. You had
fastest man in the league.
Yeah, you got
ball racing somebody.
You got that infamous dunk contest with like Ken Griffey, Dion, Michael Irvin, Chris Carter, right? There were things that made these players more than just who they were like on the field.
Especially because they wear helmets. So like you don't see, unless they're in a commercial, you don't see them.
So I think there needs to be more like behind the scenes of the WNBA, right? Because she started like describing like the locker room. And she was like, yo, it's an interesting dynamic because it's a bunch of lesbian women in the locker room, and like I'm straight, and like she's like my friends would be like telling jokes about like don't drop the soap, you know what I mean? And like hearing that, you go, oh, so y'all be having like I know that like they talk shit and have fun because I've been around girls. I've been around girls who play sports, and a lot of times girls who play sports and guys who play sports like get along really well. Because
we had to. Not we had to, but I'm just saying, like, playing basketball.
You're on the bus with them.
Always play before the boys, and we supported each other. Some of them would stay afterwards for our game. Like, It was just, I mean, look, we're all in it together.
And she even talked, and like back to the shit talking thing. It was like, well, maybe you do mic'd up, right? Like maybe you have WNBA mic'd up, WNBA unplugged. Like you got to put it out to people where people want to see it. But the problem is, especially with the TV product, is that they're not going to put it on ESPN during the 7:00 window when they can put Yankees Red Sox on. Sorry, dog. Like this gets more numbers, so we're going to put you on ESPN2. Well, nobody watches ESPN2, so it's almost like the TV network should, instead of putting the baseball game that people will watch on the lead network, put it on ESPN2, dog. Like the Red Sox and Yankees fans are going to watch. You got to like force feed the WNBA to us, but you also got to like sell the players, because
and the league, I think, does try to do that, because think of NBA All-Star Weekend. They do that challenge where there's a legend, current player, and then a WNBA player of the same city. I'm just looking because it's All-Star Weekend, and that's a good time to bring this stuff together.
But you don't really get to see the personalities, right? Like you got Candace Parker on TNT now. Well, guess what? Candace Parker is a terrible analyst. So like,
who's the chick that does NBA Countdown for ESPN with the buttocks?
She got that.
She used to play at Stanford, and she has a twin, I think.
Yeah, they got the Nigerian last names. I don't know, and I'm not going to try to say their names.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She's an example, at least in the media standpoint, but she doesn't play anymore, I don't believe. Like Candace is playing. And maybe she does play. I don't know, because their seasons are different, but like
Candace isn't good at TV, though. That's the problem.
But she kind of like how Lisa Leslie used to be is so recognizable, though, because for one, she played at Tennessee. And she was a part of one of those. Now, granted, it wasn't UConn, right? Like UConn's overtaken Tennessee. But at the time, even when she won her national championship at Tennessee, Tennessee still had more titles than UConn at that time. That was, 15, 16 years ago. But I remember Candace Parker because she used to be, I hate to say it, but this is kind of just how men look at it. She was the most attractive, and she was a star. Like she can play. And she's 6'5", which is like odd because most people aren't expecting to see this like attractive 6'5" woman. Like she's 6'5", like fuck, like she ain't 6'1", she's 6'5". So like she's really tall, and
we need more. Look, we need more Kelsey Plum.
Skylar Diggins. Drake did the ESPYs one year and wore her jersey, and Skylar Diggins is attractive,
but we don't know her voice. We don't know her voice.
But see, exactly. But see, like a part of it is too, and it's not that's just the way it is. Boys will be boys type mentality. But like a lot of sports in general are more supported by men than women, anyways.
Yep.
And so naturally, even when men know about women's sports, it's typically either there's something that really stands out about the woman, and I'm not saying physically or just like her appearance, but it always certainly helps out. Like we know that Serena Williams is not just the greatest women's tennis player of all time, but she's one of the greatest athletes of all time. And what she's accomplished, I know that she doesn't have the most Grand Slams yet. She's like one away from tying. But like in the modern era, because the lady that has more than her is like 80. And so like in the modern era, she's the greatest female, or let me not say female, the greatest woman, cis woman athlete of all time. But she also has a buttocks on her that is that we can't not recognize. And Drake was hitting it at like there's so much that goes into it. Serena looks alright, but like she also has a crazy fucking body. And so like it's kind of one of those things where most men will sexualize a woman just the same way a woman would an actor, another athlete. Like it's just comes to it. The first thing that people think about is, man, how attractive are they?
That's why we go to the strip club. That's why we go to the strip club.
Who's the most famous, notable, ugly nigga? Like that people will be like, oh, he's ugly, but he's famous as shit.
That one black dude with the bald head.
Michael Jordan? No, I'm kidding.
Nah, he like an actor. He a ugly, bald dude. I don't know why he famous.
Most people, because even if you're not like, oh, he's super attractive, like most people with money are attractive anyways because the money
they pay to be pretty.
Right. Even somebody like Glorilla. I think that when you look at the F&F video, if you look at Glorilla, you're like, man, if I'm out in public, I'm not hollering at her. But now she's made a little bit of money. She looks a hell of a lot. I'm not even like attracted to her still, but she looks a hell of a lot better. Yeah. Like she looks a hell of a lot. So like the money gonna do that. But like at the same time, I just think that when it comes to women's sports, the first thing that everybody looks at is like, I'm sorry, but and like I said, it's not a boys will be boys or that's just the way it is type of mentality. But like that is kind of what is the driving force behind it.
Here's what we got to do. We got to start telling the truth about our reality and stop trying to sugarcoat it and paint it in a place that makes other people happy, right? Like boys will be boys. Is that right? I don't know, but that's the reality that we live in. I'm not saying they should be out there in like thongs and lingerie. No, but there's a reason why there's a lingerie bowl or used to be a lingerie bowl like the night of the Super Bowl, right? Men like to see stuff like that. So I'm not saying that you make the product about how beautiful these women are, but you should definitely market certain ones more. Like Sylvia Fowles ain't getting most men who are not basketball purists to a TV. And when you think about fandom, right, and family men, all right, you got football season.
Mm-hmm.
That's Saturday, Sunday. So how many days of TV are you giving your wife together, watching shit you don't give a damn about? And okay, then you got basketball season, which is damn near every day. Mm-hmm. How many games are you watching? What games are you watching? Then that turns into baseball / WNBA season. Mm-hmm. I don't watch baseball, so easy. But if I'm watching,
come on, man, you watch the Braves a little. You don't watch. I'm not saying you sit up and watch all 9 innings, but come on, you will tune into a break. Certainly during the playoffs.
If it's on, yes,
when they played the Mets here at the end of the season.
Yeah, playoff baseball is different. But like when baseball, yeah, I watch baseball, but I don't. I'm not watching baseball like on Wednesdays.
All 162.
Right.
Like you are for all 17 Falcon games.
Yeah, I'm watching every game. Non-negotiable. And I'm watching every Sunday night football game, every Thursday night football game, every Monday night football game, unless they're bad. But the night starts with that game being watched. Yep. And then it's like you got to take time off of sports most times to keep your relationship healthy. So you got to pick the times of the year where you're not really going to watch it. All right, so if you're going to do that, you got to find a way to make it more appealing to men. If that's your target, right? Because women don't like sports like that. If you want to get women to like sports like that, you're going to have to totally change the identity around women's sports for like
you got to revamp
for the kids, because girls our age, you've lost them. They're 30. They're going to preach women's rights and how important it is to pay these women, but they're not going to watch the game. They're not going to buy the jerseys. They're not going to buy the tickets. They're not going to buy season tickets to help actually build revenue, right?
Men are going to have to support the WNBA in order for it to be successful. I don't think that women, because it's going to be hard. Like you said, somebody our age, it's going to be a lot harder to make them into a fan now. You got to start young. Like I think we both talked about this, especially because you've got a daughter now. And granted, my daughter will be about 3 years older than you. Hell, 2 years older than mine. That idea is such a good idea, and that it will help so much just in a sense of, and if a gravitational pull can go to it, like I will, of course, take my daughter to NBA games, like Hawks, as long as we're living in Atlanta, right? She will go to Hawks games. But I will, if she's interested in basketball. See, now Daddy interested in the NBA. So Daddy going to go to the NBA game, right? If in 10 years, who's a young nigga in the league?
Ja.
I tell you what, fuck it. I mean, I know an NBA player. Colin is playing, and he's in year 15, and they're playing the Hawks, or he plays for the Hawks. We're gonna go and see Uncle Colin play. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna go to a game. She'll get to see it. But if she's interested in the game, because she's like, "Well, Dad, what did you play?" And I'm like, "Well, I played basketball." And she's like, "I want to be just like you, Daddy. Like, I want to learn." And if she wants to play ball, I'm gonna take her to WNBA games, assuming that the league hasn't folded by then. Like, I'm gonna take her to games. I'm gonna take her to college games, like, because I want her to see herself out there, too. You know, and so I think that it starts there. It starts with a focus on a generation, because, like you just said, I'm saying people our age, you're not gonna just turn a chick into a WNBA player today. You're just not going to.
You got to turn.
They grew up with their dad in Phoenix and their Suns fans. They're not necessarily Mercury fans. And even with the Brittany Griner thing, right? You would think maybe this will possibly, even though she did break the law, and I hope that everybody stops trying to act like that didn't happen. She broke the fucking law. Doesn't mean that her punishment is just. But if that's the punishment that country imposes, then that's what it is. Now, I don't know about all this extra shit where they just moved her, but her being
it's people in America getting destroyed by the criminal justice system, and y'all crickets. But as soon as she go to another country, want to break laws while the USA is having a proxy war with them, you want to say, "Oh, this is terrible." Come on, man. But no, you're right, because like I know I'm going to take my daughter to Atlanta Dream, Las Vegas Aces games.
Yeah,
because she's going to be
goes to Vegas. Hell yeah, we gotta go, because that is, as of today at least, that's the that is the product. Those games are typically sold out too.
I mean, have you seen her?
It helps that they're in Vegas, but
and they're good. And like, and here goes the misogyny thing, right? Their best players are attractive.
Yeah. And they're just really good too.
And I know, like Kelsey Plum, Aja Wilson, I hope I'm saying her name right. They are good. And it's not Sylvia Fowles, bro. I'm sorry, dog. Like, I'm sorry, Sylvia, but like, you know what I mean?
Oh, and then let's look at it this way too. I know Bill Laimbeer was a coach, obviously legendary, at least in Detroit, NBA player, very successful WNBA coach. But then now it's Becky Hammon, who has coached the first female cis woman basketball player, or cis woman coach, to coach in the NBA. She came up under Pop. And of course the Aces used to be in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And basically the franchise she played for, essentially. And she's a great coach, obviously. You know what I mean? And if arguably, if not the best coach in NBA history, a top 3 coach in NBA history, puts a stamp of approval on it, and she gets that job. I mean, think about it. People were talking about her being the one that replaces Pop when he retires.
And she's easy on the eyes, too. And she's easy on the eyes.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So a lot works in favor for that particular franchise. And, it works out. But that'll be something, too, like I said, that I definitely – if my daughter is interested in basketball – I will 100% be supporting it. I might even get season tickets, assuming that, like I said, in 13 years, either the league hasn't folded or the prices haven't just went above and beyond. Because look, unless I'm rich as shit, we can't get rid of the Falcons tickets. So
they moved them to College Park though.
Who?
The Dream. They play in the G League stadium.
They don't play at State Farm?
Nah, they play at College Park.
How in touch I am with the league. I didn't know that they play there, even though that arena's new. And it probably will help them look more packed, like more of a sold-out game.
Because I want to go to a WNBA game and sit courtside. What's that ticket going? $30?
Come on, man. Don't be disrespectful. Maybe for a regular season game, and it's a bad team. Maybe. I don't know. But we got free tickets like 8 years ago to the Game 5 of the WNBA Finals.
I'd pay $200 to sit courtside to watch the Aces or Diana Taurasi.
Same.
And who else? Diggins plays. Seattle's good. Yes,
Bird, I think is gone now. Yeah, they got Jewel though. She's good. She's like the highest paid player in the league.
Really?
Yeah, look it up. She got. I think she's getting like. Let me look it up.
I'd sit courtside to watch Della Don, Brianna Stewart. I don't know who she plays with now.
Jewel Lloyd contract. She signed a 2-year, fully guaranteed $463,000 contract. She's the highest paid player in the WNBA. She makes 200 and something. Look, what the fuck? That ain't a bad look. If you making 200 and something K a year, bro, you're doing great. At the end of the day, you're not living as lavish as Ja right now, but like at the same time, look, you young, you one of the best players clearly if you're the highest paid. You know, I know a lot of people don't think Russ is one of the highest paid, but
and you know what?
one of the best.
When we'll go to that next one, Paige Buchers from UConn, when she comes out, I'll go watch her play. Like I watch
healthy, man.
I know, but bro,
keeps getting hurt.
She's good.
I remember her freshman year. I mean, like I said, and I'm especially one of the things that will get you interested too.
Gambling.
Better. I'm a bettor. Yeah. So like I look, especially the top programs. I definitely look at that shit. And so now I'm not saying we taking Mari to Georgia State basketball games, but we'll travel to Tech. Or when Georgia, if they do the SEC, I know they go to Greensboro a lot, but like if they do like the SEC tournament.
What about? Why don't you take her to Stevenson High?
Fuck no. Because she's not gonna go to school over there anyways. I mean, I live downtown, so right now, if currently if I stayed within the area of where I'm at, she'd go to like what is now it used to be Grady, but she's not gonna. I've already made this decision. My daughter is going to private school for high school, and she's going to do public the whole way. But whatever public the whole way up until that, but she would go to whatever the feeder school would be for what is now Midtown High, which is Grady, formerly Grady. If I live, stay within this confine.
Yeah, I got to figure out the school thing. I got to figure out where I'm living at.
Yeah, because you might not even be in Georgia. I mean, I'm sure you would prefer. Oh no, you're gonna get out. Yeah, your plan is to be here, but like, yeah, but yeah, I mean that would be kind of how I would do it. So no Stevenson games though, nah. And then actually, you know what? Stevenson's girls, aside from and maybe even more than the football team, Stevenson's girls were actually always very good. I mean, they were Final Four, Elite Eight every year. No, seriously, Stevenson's girls always could ball. Pat Summit took a visit up there when I was in 9th grade. She visited somebody.
Did you see Pat Summit in the flesh?
I did not, but they cleared out, like gym class got canceled because they were meeting at the gym and they didn't want like class, like, you know what I mean? You just see this, and especially look, she was popular for women's basketball. So most people, even if you're a guy that just doesn't watch college, you know who that. You watch ESPN, so you knew who that was. You would know who that.
I missed what you said. My internet was going crazy. You talking about Carol Lawson?
I'm saying if you saw Pat Summit and you're a guy that watches sports in high school, you knew who that was. So
yeah.
So they cleared the gym. I had gym that day. I had first period gym, and so they met in the morning, and so like we did like health that I don't know. It was like in a classroom. It was something stupid to where basically we couldn't be in the gym. But then they had said after it was done that what was that girl's name? It was a girl at our school that basically she had a visit. That it was an in-school visit, and they were in the gym. I don't think she did a workout or anything crazy, but I think that just meeting in the gym made a lot more sense because of basketball. But she had came to visit her at the school. Yeah, maybe she might even been in that first period gym class in one of the class. Because, in gym, it's like 5 gym teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, especially at the time, a 5A school. I mean, my class was like 50, 60 people. You know what I mean? Like, and there's like 6 different 50, 60 people class. It was a big class.
Yeah, gym was fun. Gym was wild.
Especially Fridays when it was Freestyle Friday and you could play ball and everybody's picking teams and it's like, all right, let's run these niggas. We would do 3-on-3 at each basket.
So we spent an hour and a half on not our normal stuff. But let's get to football. And Mia Khalifa is on my TV in a Sonic commercial.
Really?
Usually when she pops up on one screen, it's not doing that. She doesn't pop up on my screen unless she's in that Sonic commercial.
Well, when she has before.
She's never popped up on my screen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll believe that. But go ahead. Go on. She's never popped up. I didn't say that you've watched her on the screen, but she has never popped up. Come on.
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to watch her YouTube show at Gilbert Arenas when they did the sports podcast. Yeah, I watched that.
Don't you lie to yourself. You're better than that, Lee. And I expect better.
Yo, so there's been a lot of parity in football this year, both college and the NFL. The NFL is usually full of parity, but I think this year, more so than other years, there has not been a world beater team that we're just totally confident in. You know, you got the Eagles who are playing great football, but we don't know if Jalen Hurts can pass the ball in those high pressure situations in the playoffs, right? He hasn't proven it to us yet, so we just don't believe it. Josh Allen and the Bills, well, they're not even first in their division.
Two is pedestrian the last 4 weeks.
Huh?
I said they look pedestrian the last 4 weeks. They're 2-2. The turnover differential is +1, and then points per game is down to it's like 25 from like 30 something. So, one less touchdown. And his touchdown to interception ratio is, I think, 4-5.
And the Chiefs, bro, I'm not. They are winning games. They may be the best team in the league, but I'm just not impressed.
I'm not sold.
I'm not sold.
The same way about the Eagles. I'm just not sold yet.
You got the Cowboys. We expect the Cowboys to cowboy, right? The 49ers.
Different.
Huh?
Something feels different about
it. It does feel different. Something does feel different. The 49ers may have the best team in the league right now because they're just not getting healthy. They're just getting healthy, and they have James Garoppolo throwing the ball back there. And you look at the Ravens. I mean, are they Falcons North?
It feels a lot like it this year. Yeah, they remind me of the Falcons teams that won games.
They're blowing more leads than Mia Khalifa. Leads, not Lee.
Okay.
From what I've heard that she does.
Well, they're on top and then they're not on top.
Yeah. They're changing positions in the game.
Won the standings too.
Yeah. And what, the Bengals are getting hot, but
they like Tennessee, which is why that was such a big game last week. They like Tennessee started 0-2 too, and now they're 7-4. So they've won, or they're 8-4. What are they?
Bengals. I'm looking it up right now.
They're either 7 or 8-4. But either way, they've won a lot of their last couple.
7-4.
So they prior on like a 3-game win streak, something like that.
Yep. 3-game win streak.
Yeah, so they're getting, and we know, and they've been doing it. Think about it, that 3-game win streak, no Jamar in any of those games.
And they haven't had their running back in some, and they didn't have Joe Mixon last week.
Yeah, and they looked obviously because we got to see them against us. That was the most complete offensive game they probably played all year. Now, granted, it's the Falcons defense, and we were down like all of our DBs that game. But certainly Joe Burrow, I think, had a career high in yards that game. I think he was getting damn close to 500. He had like 470, 460 something. I mean, he was throwing all over the yard. They looked great. But yeah, they're getting hot. The Dolphins, we could argue with Tua, of course.
481.
Okay, yeah, that's what I say. He's getting really close to 500. The Dolphins, of course, you could argue really from a talent perspective on the off, and the defense is good, but from a talent perspective on the offense, maybe the most weapons in the league, all the way around. I mean, Waddle and Hill. Is there a better duo of receivers? Maybe Chase. No, I don't even think Chase and you can pick either Boyd or whatever. But like, Higgins. I don't think who has a better duo. Not this year, at least. Historically, maybe we could talk about in the league of duos who this year is a better duo than Waddle and Hill. Nobody.
Yeah, because Mike Williams and Keenan Allen haven't played together.
They're not a better duo anyways. Waddle's both of them are Pro Bowlers this year. Waddle and Hill they're both going to be selected, even though the game's not going to be played. They're both going to be selected. They're both going to be selected. When Tua plays, they're undefeated. When he starts and finishes a game, they're undefeated. I think a lot of people talked about the McDaniel hire, and of course, there was the we want Brady and Peyton thing. Wayne Huizenga is not the owner. Stephen Ross is the owner now.
Yep.
I think think about Wayne Huizenga owned Blockbuster, and that's like how he got rich and why he owned the team before he sold it. But nonetheless, you look at what they've got going, and man, I'm impressed. We talked about this last week. There's 5 teams in this league, to me, that are the legitimate Super Bowl contenders as of last week. And even after this week, maybe I throw Cincinnati back in to get back. But it's so hard to do that back-to-back.
Yeah, it is.
Miami.
Put a Miami.
I'm going to take Buffalo out and put Buffalo. I have Baltimore in there. I'm going to take Baltimore out and put Buffalo back in. Kansas City, and then it's San Francisco and the Cowboys. To me, those are the 5 most likely teams to win the Super Bowl this year.
Say again.
I'd be willing to bet on those 5 teams versus the field. Miami, Buffalo, Kansas City, Dallas, and San Francisco.
I didn't hear Philadelphia, did I?
They're not in it. I'm not a believer. I don't believe. They should have lost to the Colts, and we just saw what the Colts did on Monday night. They should have lost that game. They were down like the entire game, and they only won by 1. And I get it. Look, I get it. The Colts beat Kansas City. So, Matt Ryan had already beaten one of the top teams in the NFL. But
I didn't hear the Vikings either.
Kirk Cousins will find a way. And I know that's the same way everybody feels about Dallas just as a team. Well, that's the Cowboys. Once they get to the playoffs, they'll probably be one and done. But nah, I think Dallas is better than them. And I think that if fate has it and everybody wins out in that first round, wild card week, the home teams, and they're the only road team because they beat either us or Tampa, which will more than likely happen, they would get Philly.
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
They would beat us or Tampa and ultimately end up playing Philly in that first round. I think they go in there and beat them. If that's how it sets up and they don't win the division.
Dallas, the way Dallas is playing.
They've got a game this week. They got Tennessee, but go ahead.
Dallas, it travels.
That too. There's the fan. It doesn't matter if it's in Philadelphia. I expect the crowd to be worst case, or best case for Philly, 70-30, 65-35. I expect there to be plenty of Cowboys fans.
And the thing is, the Dallas fans will buy tickets. It's just the season tickets won't get sold to Dallas fans. Like the Philly fans, they're gonna go to the games. But yeah, there's similar parity in college football, and we'll come back to that because I want to stay with the NFL. Golly, talk about terrible transitions. Let's look at last week's slate. Right. I'll look at a couple games from last week, and you tell me what you want to talk about. So we had our Thursday Thanksgiving games. Buffalo and Detroit, anything there? No.
Buffalo finding a way to win, but not being very impressive. But I will give them this. The Lions were hot, and it was the most meaningful Thanksgiving Day game for the Lions probably in the last decade.
Damn, Matt Stafford. None of your games mattered. Giants at Dallas.
Even though the score is deceptive because Dallas didn't even end up covering, they set that pretty high considering they had the same record going into the game. But Dallas did exactly what we thought they would do, dominate the game pretty much from start. They got the garbage time touchdown and cover, but like Dallas was who – it wasn't as dominant as the Minnesota game, of course. I mean, it's hard to always follow up a 40-3 victory, but like they still look like – I mean, they controlled the game. Outside of the first quarter, they controlled that game from start to finish, basically.
New England, Minnesota.
Great game to watch. It was a good. It was. I'm glad that was the final game for. It was great for. It was a good game, and it's a cross conference matchup. And Kirk Cousins finally, maybe he was probably in his career possibly his like third primetime win. So like, I mean, it was good to see them pull it out. But great game though. I thought it was the most entertaining game of the day. I mean, the Detroit game was really good too, but like. I thought it was the most entertaining because all the food had settled and we just did nothing but watch.
So I'll tell you the one thing about that Patriots game and watching them lose. I know this week was hell for them because of how they lost. You had the big special teams play that they gave up, the big return, which that's not really a Bill Belichick thing because he actually focuses on special teams. Then you're ready to get the ball back, and you get a penalty on the punt. And that kind of just, it ends the game for you. You go, wow.
This blows.
You lost in the least Patriots fashion like ever. Like, Patriots don't lose like this.
No, they don't.
Like, y'all make
a Falcon way to lose a game.
Well, I mean,
and then you have the what's his face? Used to be in San Diego. Hunter Henry's touchdown catch or not. Very similar to Brock Bowers' touchdown against Tech, actually. Because it looked like his hands are under the ball, but clearly the ball also does kind of hit the ground. But it just looks like his hands were under it, too.
Yeah, I thought that should have been a touchdown. But
I would have called it because his hands were under it. It didn't hit the ground first. It hit his hands, but as it hits his hands, then it hits the ground. The ground didn't help him catch the ball. He caught the ball. It's just it was so low. I mean, Mac Jones, But Jason
Tatum went for 49 tonight, by the way.
They played a bad team again. Or Miami without Butt. So Butt wasn't guarding him, and I think Hero's not playing either. So
my Hero played today. I had it on for a little while.
Well, it doesn't matter who was guarding him if Butler wasn't out there.
But
Struce.
I don't know.
Duncan Robinson, he doesn't even really get credit.
Yeah, he stole money. Good on him.
Man, Hawks could use a guy like him, though. Just not at that pay rate. Just a guy that's a three-point specialist.
Okay, so Sunday games. Tampa Bay, you talk about they're not good.
Arthur Smith said thank you on the radio. He said because they talked about the obviously the Mariota pick, and then he transitioned. He said, he said Cleveland helped us out, and he said now we're still in it. He said we got to move on. That was basically thank you, Cleveland.
So here's something that's weird to me. You remember how when the Buccaneers were struggling at first with Brady's first year, then after the bye, they started running the Brady offense instead of the Bruce Arians offense. And that's what propelled them through the playoffs and to the Super Bowl. Now that the Buccaneers are struggling, it's Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles. Well, if you're running the Brady offense, that Brady's running the offense himself, and the coaching is not as involved in it, Why do we get to move the goalpost for Tom Brady? When it's not working, it's everybody else's around him fault. And when it's working, it's because of him. And I'm not saying that Todd Bowles is the best coach in the world. I'm not saying that that his OC is the best OC in the world. Byron Leftwich is the best OC in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This is Byron Leftwich's first year calling plays. Actually, like no shit calling plays without Bruce Arians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he supposed to be Kyle Shanahan? Is he supposed to be Sean McVay? Is he supposed to be Andy Reid?
Bowles, or you're saying Leftwich?
Leftwich.
What? This is his third year as the OC?
Third year as the OC, but his first year actually calling plays because they said Bruce was
calling. And de facto, Tom even still saying, I got this.
Right.
Probably Bruce at some point.
Like, this is his first year with the training wheels off. I don't expect you to be great your first year doing something like this. If you are, good. But he's learning lessons. And his O-line is fucked.
It's decimated. Well, it's decimated. Like Tristan Wirfs just got hurt. I mean, you could argue their best O-lineman. Their starting center got hurt before when Brady was on hiatus because of the divorce, which we can all now assume that is the reason he took the 2 weeks off, because she said Giselle told him, what about what the fuck, basically,
Well, he told the team he was coming back before he told Giselle. Oh, Hove is at the Nets game today, by the way.
Hove did?
Yeah.
Can we get a drop for that? Because anytime anything NFL comes up, we got to get Hove did.
I got you. I'll make that one.
Yeah. That's another thing we're going to have to game plan when we do the pick. Like that whole day, we got to do a whole revamp.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so Tampa, just in general, thank you. I mean, I'll thank you. Thank you, because the Falcon season was over if they won that game. It was. Our season was going to be over. We're already 1-3 in the division, and we lost to them. So they have the tiebreaker. This keeps us alive. We need New Orleans' help, and then we got to take care of business against Pittsburgh. We get our bye, and then we need to take care of New Orleans. It's pretty simple to me. They've got to win the next 2 games. Tampa's not going to continue to lose every game.
They're a bad team. They just lost their best offensive lineman, and they're playing a first-place schedule.
But their wide receivers are at least kind of healthy now. Chris Godwin was hurt early in the season. Mike Evans got suspended a game. I know that Lenny, he didn't play last game, but and the defense is still talented. I mean, they still have really good defensive players. So
forgot about Julio.
Yeah, well, he caught a big ball. It didn't result in nothing, but he actually had made some noise. I was like, wow, Julio Jones sighting. That's refreshing. I don't remember that. But nonetheless, the only takeaway from that game is that Tampa is still bad.
Okay, so we don't really care about Cincy, Tennessee. We don't care about Houston, Miami. The Jets in Chicago. I hope everybody threw a house on the fucking Jets on Sunday, and if you didn't, well, you shouldn't gamble.
I took the under. Boy, was I wrong. It was 36.5, and I think they got to 45.
It's 35-10, I believe.
Well, it's because they had it was like 17-10 in the first half. Because first of all, we got that erroneous report that Trevor Siemian had gotten hurt, and
Nathan Peterman was going to play.
And I was like, oh man, give me the under, because I was like, the Bears aren't going to score. I was like, even if the Jets score 30 points, I was like, it's going to be 30-6. We're going to get the under. Wrong.
But I think the biggest thing that came out of that game was that team loves Mike White and they hate Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is
the next Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he's going to go somewhere else because someone's going to believe in the arm talent. I think he's more Carson Wentz than Sam Darnold.
Not you, Arthur Smith. Don't take the bait. Trade for Jordan Love instead.
Don't touch Zach Wilson with a 10-foot pole. We don't want him in our locker room. Apparently he's a prick.
Falcons fans are the least we're going to up, except for if it's Matt Ryan hate. I mean, everybody loves to hate him here. But we're going to fucking, if that happens, I'm going to be honest, man, I'm going to email somebody. I'm gonna email my ticket rep. I'm gonna be like, hey, man, this is bullshit. Like you need to let them know that I don't like this.
Like, because when you hear the statements that come out, you know, like Elijah Mitchell, or excuse me, Elijah Moore, talking about them, yeah, it just felt good to just feel the ball again, you know, and Robert Saleh saying, you know, Mike White, he does the easy things, right? He makes the simple things simple.
Well, and he didn't throw. And the thing is, I'm sorry to cut you off, but like he didn't throw Zach Wilson under the bus because they asked him obviously about it, and he's kind of like, we're gonna take things week by week, which opens the door for Zach to come back to start. But we're gonna take things week by week. But basically, Mike is gonna be our guy next week because he played great today.
Zach Wilson didn't dress. They dressed Flacco as a backup,
as they should have. I mean, I thought Flacco was going to be the starter.
You know, Flacco has more touchdowns than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson might have the worst contract in sports history, and Denver may have committed the worst trade in sports history. According to Dick Sherman, it's the worst trade in sports history.
Give us a little bit more time on that. I don't think it'll be justified, but it won't be the worst, I guess is what I think. I think once Hackett's gone, because he's dead man walking, we know that job's open. Maybe Dan Quinn will actually take it this time because I know that – I don't know because I don't have the intel, but my thought is that was the – because they did say that Dan Quinn got offered a job. They never specified who. I think that was the job that he was offered and that he just didn't take it, which I think a lot of uproar would have came from the Denver fan base anyways because they're like, man, we keep having defensive coaches. Can we get an offensive guy in here? So plus, he's an offensive guy, even though it's Pete's probably more defensive than offensive anyways.
Yeah, Pete's defensive.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the worst trade in sports history because it's only been 1 year, and I think that it would just be crazy to look at it that way. Now, I do think it's one of the worst contract extensions in sports history because you did not have to give him that contract yet. You could have let him come out and play for you. And because football is a hard cap league, yeah, you have every intention of re-signing him, but the way the contract looks, the language that you use, the signing bonus, the amount of money per year you're going to give him, that may be different based on his performance. And then you come from a place of leverage and say, hey, dude, you sucked. Like Russell Wilson is playing. He's one of the worst quarterbacks. Some could argue he's the worst quarterback in the NFL this year.
If you saw, I dropped him finally in fantasy. I was holding on to him with the hope that, like, man, gosh, it's still Russell Wilson. Eventually he will, and granted, I have Dak, right? But, like, the thought was eventually he will, he's going to put something together eventually. He hasn't, so I dropped him. And it was an interesting tidbit that I saw on Twitter. You know what now this is just fantasy. Now, we know what eye test is, but even from a fantasy standpoint, you know what he ranks?
32nd.
Worse.
34th.
33rd. There are 32 teams in the NFL, and this man has started every game. And somehow, some way, there's some backup that ranks higher than him. Probably Flacco. Yeah, because hell, Zach Wilson clearly is ahead of him too. And so it's just like, and Mike White, if he plays, he doesn't even have to have the game he had against Chicago. If he plays decent another 1 or 2 weeks, he'll probably pass him as well. And so Russ was the 33rd ranked quarterback in fantasy football. And I mean, I don't have to tell everybody to know how bad that is. And there's only 32 teams. It's tough. I give, and we talked about this in the group, I give Hackett more. I think Russ is playing better, but I also think that I think a lot of this is the coaching because Russ is in year 10, 11. He should not, nobody should look at Tom Brady as like the how a quarterback's career.
No, Matt Ryan.
By year 11, even Matt Ryan, even as bad as, and we had bad O-lines and bad defenses and no run game some years.
Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson.
Statistically, Matt Ryan still in year 10. Hell, year 10 was the second year of Sark for Matt Ryan. and Matt Ryan put up the same MVP. Like, so I don't want to hear that. Like he's just falling off. I don't think it's just that. I think his inability to run the way he would run, and maybe between year 1 and year 7, like it's changed. But to think that his arm is cooked or something, Jerry Jeudy might not be that good either. I mean, like there are like a lot of questions they have. And losing Javonte Williams, clearly the best football player on the offense. Even with him only playing in 4 games, he's the best football player on the offense.
Yeah, well aware. Kind of
this season. This season, reputation, of course, Russ is, but like this season, he only played in like 4 or 5 games, and he was the best player. He was the best player on that offense.
I was gonna ride him into the playoffs in fantasy. I know. I was well aware.
That hurt. He was the best player on the offense. So, I mean, take it how you want, but like, I mean, he's the best player on the offense.
But so I just think we gotta give Russell the blame that he deserves in this.
He does. He's the quarterback and he's the leader of the team. Like, yes, he absolutely deserves blame. I just hate how a lot of people, because we know Hackett's getting fired, like a lot of people are disregarding the fact that the play calling is bad too.
I think both things are bad, and I think that we should be able to say both things are bad. I don't think it should be an either or, right? Because what we see, especially from the 4-letter network, right, is who's to blame, Russell or Hackett? Both. They both suck.
Right. If you even have to talk about it, because it would be obvious if it was one or the other. Obviously, they both have a part in it, and it's not a who deserves more, even though I would lean Hackett, because I don't think that Russ is done. I just don't think Russ is done. I think Hackett's not a play caller, because I think LaFleur was really the one calling the plays in Green Bay to begin with. And like you said, Hackett's just a quarterback coach in reality. And that's why Aaron Rodgers loves him so fucking much. He's a quarterback coach. LaFleur was the one calling the plays in Green Bay, not him.
But Hackett said that it was a team aspect. You know, it was him and Russ. It was them. You know, he was the equal.
Dumb shit before. Dimitroff and Quinn, when it came to like whatever to draft, and then of course we know Rich has his hand in it too. But
Rich has his hand in it. Both hands in it.
Somebody gets blamed, and in that case, both were gone, right? But like, nah, man, don't give me that. That's
so. We think about bad contracts. We think about bad trades. What do you think of some of the other worst trades in like sports history? Like, you know,
trades.
I look at the Dallas Herschel Walker trade. Yes, great trade for Dallas. But I mean,
that old line for years to come.
Right, but I mean, Herschel Walker has made more hay as a politician than he did as an NFL player.
He's about as popular in the state of Georgia. Nah, not as. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't have lied, but like he's probably maybe getting close to as popular as he was when he won the Heisman here. You know.
I mean, yeah, runoff.
Certainly with the Southern whites, you know.
I got to vote against him or vote for him, or it depends on how I feel that day. Haha! I won't tell you lips what I'm doing.
Well, you're infuriating us. AOC should have a word.
Yeah, call LeBron. Let LeBron come down here and tell me who to vote for in the state that he doesn't pay taxes in.
Raphael Warnock.
Bro,
that's for the state of Georgia. Even though I don't have any fucking dealings with the state of Georgia except for when I play the Hawks every year.
Bro, let me tell you. Yeah, he does pay a small bit of taxes in Georgia because, you know, the NBA players, they pay taxes in like each state they play.
Yeah, and that's the state that they worked in.
Right. So let's just have a
fuck out.
Yo. Hey, libs, how fucking stupid do you think black people are that you're going to send LeBron down here to tell us who to fucking vote for in a state that he plays one game in a year?
Sheep.
Like, I'm going to listen to, like, I've listened to LeBron say so many things. And don't get me wrong, LeBron's a great basketball player, successful businessman because he's a great basketball player.
Person by all accounts.
Yeah, he does great stuff for the community, a lot of tax write-offs. But look here, dog. He ain't telling me who to vote for. Do that shit in LA. Do that shit in California. Go to Akron. Go to Cleveland. Go to Ohio. If you even want to go back to to Miami in Florida, where you once lived. Say your piece. But here in Georgia, just like y'all had to pedal him out there for Hillary. Nah, bro. Like miss me with that. Like black people, wake up. I ain't telling y'all to be more moderate to conservative like myself and Parlay P. I'm not telling y'all to be like us. But I'm telling y'all to not be bought by Hove and Braun. You tell Hove and Braun to take their billions and invest it in your community. Not give a statement for radical Democrat Raphael Warnock. You know what I mean? Like you have all of these celebrities with all of these resources, all of these friends, all of this money, and they want to come just make a statement, and you're supposed to listen when your statement can actually be your actions. Because, hey, black people, voting for these politicians ain't going to change or is not going to change your life day to day, especially on a national level. It's not going to change your life day to day.
It never does.
Because in order for the Dems to get stuff done, they got to play. They got to play into the Republicans' hands. In order for the Republicans to get stuff done, they got to. It's a back and forth, and the system is set up. The system is set up for gradual change, back and forth, but balance out in the middle. That's why not much has changed in this country over years. The system was set up to not change.
Compromise. And my dad always said this to me: you got to give up ass to get it. And so I'm very aware of that. And even as somebody that does gamble regularly, look, I'm gonna have to lose to win, and that's life. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you gonna have to lose to win, because how you gonna win if you don't lose? You gotta, man. Nas said this, and which, funny enough, he had that track with 21 Savage. Him and 21 Savage got a track together that came out last night.
Bro, I saw
it. I listened to it, but I saw it.
I listened to it, man.
But Nas said this in a Rich Boy remix. Crazy enough. Damn it, boy. Indiana's taking off on North Carolina. But Nas said this. He said, it's cool to love to win. It's better to hate to lose. And I look at it the same way in a sense of you got to give it. You're going to have to give up something in order to get the ultimate prize. Nothing's going to be peachy for anyone. I mean, it's not that easy. If it was, everybody would be doing it and we'd all be living the same. But that's not how this works.
And LeBron, don't tell me to vote for. Bad contracts, Russell Westbrook. You know what? As I think about this, I mean, this topic is so easy. We're going to say Russell Westbrook. We're going to say John Wall. We're going to say Albert Haynesworth. We're going to you might say Julio Jones, Matt Ryan. Great trades for the Falcons, by the way, because Titans and Indy. And
they were bad because of what we didn't get during the time, but they were due what they – I mean, Matt's contract came right after the Super Bowl. So, like, now we only went to the playoffs once after that. But, like, I mean, they had – what were they going to do? They couldn't let him fucking walk. Now, Julio's deal – Julio was still had like 3 years on his contract, and they like upped him like 5, 6.
Well, he came crying. Remember? Because he knew his hamstrings were cooked.
Breaking news, by the way: Rose Bowl has signed an agreement that will allow college football playoffs to expand to 12 teams in 2024. Because that was the holdup, basically. Either the Rose Bowl wasn't going to be a part of it, so now it is official. Basically, the college football playoffs will begin in 2024.
2024
will be a part of it.
2024 season or next season? Because it will be in 2024 next season.
Sounds like next season.
Okay, man. Damn these contracts. Now, we got breaking news. 12 team playoff. Stupid. It's fucking stupid.
It's stupid because if you look at this season, what that would look like.
If you look at every season, what it looks like, it doesn't make sense.
Because you're talking about that 12 team probably has 3 losses.
The difference between
would Alabama be a 12?
Alabama's still in the top 10.
You want to know what? This is the good part about it. This will open up to where seeding is actually based on how good you are, because let's keep it 100.
They already got a formula. It's like,
what team in the top 4 do you think would beat Bama on a neutral field? Seriously.
Georgia.
Okay.
And I have very little confidence in saying that because I have that much respect for the Bama program.
And that's it, correct?
That's the only team I'm confident in.
If Michigan played Alabama, I think it would be a great game, and I think Alabama will win.
Because they got Bryce Young.
If TCU played Alabama, I think that they beat them by double digits. So whether that's 10 or I'll take them by double digits. If USC played Alabama, hell, I got to see that at Jerry World. Now, granted, that was like 4 or 5 years ago, but I remember the game. They beat them like 55-3. What is, even with Link there and Caleb Williams and Addison, these guys that they bought in, literally bought in.
Transferred it.
Well, they bought them in. They bought them in. They paid them. But what difference would that truly make, especially with an Alabama team that's motivated, that's lost 2 games by a combined 4 points at 2 of the top 5 hardest places to play in college football?
And let's look at this. Caleb Williams went from the Big 12 to the Pac-12. Sorry, not impressed with your competition.
Basically the same type of defenses.
Jordan Addison went from the ACC to the Pac-12. Sorry, I'm not impressed.
That's why it's a good fit for those guys, and they got the move to Cal LA. So, like, I mean, they love it, you know.
I'm just not impressed by the corners that were guarding you. I'm not impressed with the D lines that were after you there, Mr. Williams. So we're gonna expand it to 12 because we're gonna give out more participation trophies. We're gonna make these lesser programs feel like they matter. And guess what? Just like the first round game normally is in the college football playoff, we're just going to watch a lot of boat races. There'll be a lot of fucking boat races.
And you might get one upset because the team is just so off their game that day. Like, you know, like if Ohio State played, because in a 12-team playoff, now I'm not saying Tulane would beat them, but Tulane right now is the non-Power 5 that would be in. And I'm going to assume maybe they'll let 2 in a 12-teamer. I don't know how that's going to work, but
I hope not.
Tulane right now would be that team that plays in the non-Power, that would be the non-Power 5 team that plays in the New Year's Six Bowl this year. But Ohio State could run into, let's say that Ohio State played LSU. LSU could beat Ohio State based on what I saw when it comes to toughness. And you're a big proponent of BK. I mean, I'll give you this. I think that earlier you said I don't think you even thought they would do it this year.
No.
But you were like, they would win. They're going to win the West in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah.
They did it in the first year. So that's impressive in itself. Because you know what they did? They beat Alabama, which is what you have to do in order to win the West.
And the way he beat Alabama, though, the way he beat Alabama with the 2-point conversion, he dropped his nuts. He did stuff that's how you win.
I grabbed my dick as soon as you said that, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's how you beat a Nick Saban, you know? So, again, it's great money for the networks. Hopefully the kids get some of that money. More football for us to watch and gamble on. So, thank you. But as far as a necessity for the sport, it's not. It's all about the television networks.
Exactly. It doesn't grow it. It just makes it more money.
It makes us think that TCU has a chance. It makes us think that Tennessee without Hendon Hooker has a chance. It makes us think that whoever else is in the top 10 that I could give a damn about because they don't matter has a chance. But guess what? The best team wins every year.
So look at this. Here, this is what we're going to do. I've got the college football rankings up. So I'm going to do what the matchups would be, because basically in a 12-team format, it'd be just like the NFL, how it used to be when it's
No. It's a weird formula, though.
Well, so the top 2 teams don't have a bye. That's how I would think it would be. In a 12-team format, top 2 teams have a bye, because that's the only way it could work.
Yes,
it would be just like the NFL, the NFC, and the AFC.
Yes, but it's weird. So it's like,
because whoever the 3 is playing the 12 would play on the 2 side.
So I got a bracket built off of what it would look like if we had one this year.
And hold on. One of the things we have to consider, because my assumption is that one non-Power 5 gets in. So in this case, based on this ranking, Washington's not in. And Tulane's 12.
Tulane's in. So on this ranking, they built it based on the way that SI did it. Ross Dillinger, let's give him credit, based on how it would actually go. Georgia and Michigan get buys. Excuse me, Georgia, Michigan, USC, and TCU get buys. The top 4 get buys.
Okay, I see. The top 4 get buys. Okay.
So then you have 8 and 9, Penn State versus Clemson in the Georgia bracket. Then you have
Penn
5.
State.
You have 5-12 Ohio State versus Tulane.
Ohio State
for USC. On the other side of the bracket, you have Michigan. You have Tennessee versus Kansas State in the 7-10 for Michigan.
It'll be a great game now that Hendon Hooker's gone. I'd probably actually lean Kansas State. But go ahead.
And then you have Alabama, Utah in the 6 and 11.
Well, we know Alabama's blowing doors.
So now you got.
I'll be honest with you. Utah makes it very interesting in the first half, but Alabama pulls away.
So then you got Georgia, Penn State.
Georgia by 2 touchdowns, at least.
USC, Ohio State. It's fucking pillow fight.
Honestly, these 2 teams mirror each other. They're soft.
Yeah,
they're just soft. I tell you what, give me USC just because Caleb Williams probably outshines CJ Stroud.
Bet the over. Bet the over.
I gotta say,
pound the over. Then we got Michigan versus, I would go Kansas State. No Hendon Hooker. I'm thinking Kansas State in that game. No, I'm thinking Kansas State over Tennessee. So Michigan versus Kansas State.
I think Kansas State beats Tennessee. You know who Kansas State's quarterback is? It's Adrian Martinez, who's like the starter for Nebraska for like 4 years. And it's weird because like he used to put up numbers similar to my guy that's at Louisville. That kind of like they were like, well, just like Lamar and Teddy, like he puts up numbers, but they weren't winning games. Yeah. Which hell, neither Lamar, they weren't winning fucking games. They were winning games, but they weren't winning games. 9-3 was a great season at Louisville with them.
So
but I think Kansas State, as good as he's been with them, they've been good. They've actually been quietly good. They're like Tennessee Titans.
But Michigan blows doors off Kansas State, right?
Or Tennessee. They beat either of them.
Alabama beats TCU.
So Alabama's the only team that changes the top 4.
Exactly.
And this is my point. That's why I asked you that before we began this segment. Was realistically, this is why it would be good for college football because they wouldn't have to do it based on record for real. They would do it based on who actually are the top 4 teams to get the buys. Alabama is the top 4 team in college football because you have to ask yourself. Kind of like Colin Cowherd does his NFL 10 when he does the top 10 teams. He's like, today, who would beat who? And that's how he does his rankings, not who has the better record, because the Giants halfway through the season would have had the better record against somebody.
And nobody believes in them.
Like, Giants were like 7-1 or something, 6-1 at their bot. Like halfway through the season, they had a better record than the Bills. Like, you know what I mean? That don't mean they're better than the Bills. Who do they play?
Exactly. And, we got Clemson here. Clemson's not making the playoffs this year. Clemson got dog walked by Notre Dame.
Who was it? Clemson played Penn State, bro. I bet. And then the real question will be how they set the playoffs up. Do all the first-round matchups get played on campus? Because I feel like that's what it would be. And then the quarterfinals are played at venues, and then the or maybe even only the semifinals are.
No, so
that was the University of Georgia in their 1 seed match gets a game at Sanford Stadium, right?
No, they played the Sugar Bowl. It will be the Sugar Bowl.
Damn, but see, I like the college football playoff to a degree now because, like, obviously Mercedes-Benz is one of the venues, and the number 1 seed gets to determine where they play. So, of course, Georgia is going to play in Atlanta. Like, they will absolutely say, no, we're going to play the Peach Bowl at Mercedes-Benz.
So the Peach Bowl is the semifinals on the Georgia side of the bracket.
This year. Yeah.
Yeah, so
taking it off of this year.
Yeah, but can I talk about Dabo real quick?
Go ahead.
Dabo is done. Dabo's reign at Clemson is done.
Is his reign done in terms of them winning 10 games a season, or is his reign done in terms of being relevant for the playoff discussion?
Them being
when
relevant,
I mean legitimately they're contenders.
They will not be a playoff contender unless they change what they're doing. Okay, Dabo, you say you won't pay players, but your boosters have always paid the players. You're not working the portal. Well, guess what? You're not getting the players that you once got there. Because guess what? These 5 stars, they're going to get the money. They're going to get the bag money underneath the table, and they're going to go get the legal money that they got to pay taxes on, okay? They're going to go get the money. So if you're not going to change to the times because you just think people come there for the culture and the program and you don't want to pay players because you have this slave master mindset, then you have at it, Dabo. But you're done. You're absolutely done. And guess what, man? You deserve it. You stuck by DJU all season long. He's not good. He is not a
loyalty. Let him show his loyalty.
Give a damn about loyalty. Give a damn about victories.
He's loyal.
If somebody doesn't play well, they deserve to get benched. You got a 5-star behind him, right?
I'm with you.
Get that young man a chance to play before he hits the portal. You know the thing that you don't hit? Watch him hit the portal on your ass. And then what? You gonna stack some more? No.
You mean and then Kirby
shot. Huh?
Say, and then you mean Kirby gets a hold of him if he doesn't believe in Brock Vandagriff or Carson Beck next season.
Bada boom,
bada bang.
You know
what's so funny about Georgia?
We didn't hit the portal at all.
They got no players out of the portal because he recruited so goddamn well, and it's the next man up mentality. And they lost, like Burton went to Alabama, but like they lost like 4 guys, I think, tops. A lot of guys stay because Kirby is telling you if you stay, you will play. And I know that you're going to be ready by the time you play, because even if that means you're not, you're a 5-star kid, you're a freshman, maybe you don't play your first and second year, but we can redshirt you 1 year and then you just miss your redshirt freshman year. And then you're a redshirt sophomore. You're a star, bro. You're going to the league anyways. You've been in college 3 years. And if not, you stay 1 more year and prove your draft stock. Go from a 3rd-round pick to a 1st-round pick. Make yourself some more money because you're going to be the guy. Ladd McConkey is a redshirt sophomore, I believe. Or he's a true sophomore. But Ladd did not fucking play last year. But he became a guy this year.
Yeah, he's our second best weapon.
Because people talked about how the Georgia wide receiving core was kind of the question mark coming into this year.
It's still the question.
Even though they lost a lot of their defensive guys, I think everybody knew they had guys on defense. But offensively, they're like, well, you lost Pickens, you lost both of your backs, Zeus and Cook.
Yep.
So you lost your top 2 backs. You still have arguably even last year, your best weapon in Brock Bowers. Washington obviously is a freak. That is the type of guy. If he's not going to be, because he probably won't be a 1st-round type guy, that is the type of guy I'd love to be tight end to in Atlanta, and we run 2 tight end sets. Him and Pitt would be so disgusting. I'd be disgusted because he blocks too, obviously. Yeah. I mean, Pitts is not a bad blocker either, but like we know that he really should be running routes to be good.
Yeah, Pitts is light in the pants too.
Yeah. He's big as fuck though.
He is, but he is, you know what I'm saying?
He's a finesse tight end.
I'm all over the place. We're gonna get back to the guys on Sunday because we're at 2.5 hours.
I know. While you're doing that, I'll even be getting my picks together. That way, we're ready to go once it gets there.
So you shot like a pretty cool take at me, but before we get there, Kyler Murray only cares about Kyler Murray, according to Patrick Peterson. Larry Fitzgerald never fails to talk about how poor of a teammate Kyler Murray is in the most respectful way that he can. And that clause was put into his contract for a reason, even though it was removed. We remember the sideline moment where he's yelling at Cliff saying, calm the fuck down, calm the fuck down. Hey, Kyler, you're not calm, and that's your coach, and you're on national television right now. Excuse me, you're on streaming. But that's a bad look. And then he gets up there in a press conference and he says, we're schematically fucked. That could be true. But you don't say that in a press conference, dude.
No.
Like, he and Cliff have the same agent. I don't understand how that relationship's working or not working, but you just don't say that. Even if it's true, you just don't say that, Kyler Murray. And guess what? Kyler Murray hasn't been good this year. Zach Wilson hasn't been good this year. Russell Wilson hasn't been good this year. All of you people telling me that, hey, you can be a small quarterback in the NFL, and I say maybe, but I wouldn't put my career on it if I was a GM. That's why Bryce Young may not go first overall. Has Bryce Young proven, based on the way he plays, has he proven that he's good? Absolutely. Has he been the best quarterback in the country? Maybe outside of Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams isn't draft eligible. Yeah, but Bryce Young is 5'9", 186 pounds. I forgot who it was, but they said they were on the field for the national championship game. I think it may have been Bruce Feldman. And he goes, Bryce Young is noticeably smaller than Stetson Bennett. And you go, if I'm a GM and this is my second stab at a quarterback, am I gonna pin the next 5 years of my career on this guy? I can't do it.
You know, Kimes has been there so long, and I didn't realize he had been there that long. He's been there since like 2011, 2012 as the GM, and he was there before it too. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know.
He's been there for like 20 years.
Yeah, he's been there a long time, but he's been the GM for like the last 10 or 11 years, and you could argue those have been outside of the Super Bowl year, of course. Those have been the highest points in Cardinals history. Because when it comes to teams that have had worse franchise histories than the Falcons, they are one of them. Like, as much as we complain about, man, the Cardinals have had a dreadful fucking history as a franchise. And, you know, this is how I look at it. I'm with you. I just can't believe that they're like, man, yeah, we want to hitch ourselves to a 5'9" quarterback. That isn't even that good. And I think maybe the owner even was like, what did they start, 8-0 or something last year? They were the last undefeated team I know. But they were like 8-0, 9-0. And think about it. Colt McCoy probably won 3 of those games. And then there's the injury aspect. There's a lot to why I wouldn't have paid him. And Deshaun Watson, I would have been hot on the trail because then you got Nuke to help recruit him. You can send Kyler's being a brat. He's wiping his Instagram. You can send him back to Texas. He'll be happy to take because he gets more money playing there, right? Because he's
hey, how about Kyler's responded since we like Schefter just posted 17 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
He responds, "This isn't true. You on some weird shit. At P2, you got my number. If you really felt like this as a big bro or mentor, you supposed to call me and tell me, not drag me so your podcast can grow." So it sounds like he was right. Hit dog holler.
I mean, I think Kyler, look, I think that everything that was said, based on what I know, it appears to be true. When you look at him, he looks like he doesn't fucking care.
Yeah.
He's
over.
Like, it's just like
he's like the opposite of Russell Wilson, where Russell Wilson just seems like he cares about everything, even though I know he doesn't. Kyler just seems like he's just over. He's just like, are we done playing football? Okay. Can I get my paycheck to go home?
Whatever.
Real quick before we get to the picks, you brought up something before the show about Jordan Love and his nice showing. And pretty much what you're saying is Falcons, whichever quarterback Green Bay doesn't want, you owe us one. Send us your guy.
There's going to be a market on Jordan Love, I think, even with just that little bit, and especially if he doesn't, if because they said it's ribs with Rodgers. If Rodgers doesn't play next week, my thought is that I don't know who Green Bay plays, but if Jordan Love has a good showing, yeah, I'm going to assume Justin Fields plays. But if you let Jordan Love outplay Justin Fields, and like, let's say he goes, I don't know, I'll make up some numbers, 25 of 32, 262, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 30 yards rushing or something like that. There's going to be a market, and it's not going to be like the Matt Flynn market, because the issue with the Matt Flynn thing when Seattle signed him, Matt Flynn had one really phenomenal game in the last week of the season.
He went crazy.
Yeah, and granted, I think Green Bay needed to win that game to get in that year. Now, they won the Super Bowl, right? They went 10-6. Or was that wasn't the Super Bowl year? They went
that was the 15 in 1 year.
Okay. So they had already clinched. Yeah, but point being, I think that certainly Green Bay, depending on what ownership wants to do, because now they're not going to be able to sign. Look at that, Jerry Stackhouse trying to fight people and Vandy.
Rhode Island reparations program will allow white residents to apply for funds. How that work?
I don't know how that's going to work. But what I will say is this. If Kyler Murray wants to cure any and everything about himself based on whether his teammates feel that way or any fan outside of the league looks at him, win games, stay healthy, play good ball. He doesn't really do either. Fantasy-wise, he helps a lot of people like Gambles, even though Gambles is fucking 5-7. You know, he helps people because he'll run for 70 yards and he'll have a 30-yard scamper at the end of the game, and he'll get a garbage time touchdown or something. So, of course, he'll salvage your fantasy team. But is he good? Is the team good? No. They're going to have to probably clean house and hope maybe the owner might not give up on him, but Kime and Kingsbury are gone.
And it comes down to being a good dude. I was listening to this podcast, right? And, you know, Booger McFarland said something about Zach Wilson being a rich kid, and that's why maybe he's having some of these issues. I don't think that's true. I think Booger should have used different words and said he's disengaged. He's not as cultured as some, and he's not used to being around some of those in the locker room, so he doesn't relate to everyone. Especially its receivers. And you think about Matthew Stafford, someone who I saw a stat on the internet, don't know if it's true. He's thrown like 91% of his passes to a white guy, which is like the highest since like the 60s. Maybe Matthew Stafford's not as because I really do believe that a lot of these quarterbacks, when they get a white skill guy, they bond. Because they probably listen to the same music, like the same type of women. It makes sense, right? It makes a lot of sense.
Jimmy G loves Christian McCaffrey and.
Well, you saw Jimmy G, George Kittle, Christian.
I know they were in the game. I get it.
Yeah, you saw, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Like it makes sense, right?
Is that part of why Dabo was talking like he wanted to get out this year?
I mean, maybe. But you look at these guys who. I forgot what the hell I was talking about. Zach Wilson not relating or something.
You're talking about white guys.
Oh yeah. No. But the guy on the podcast said like, you're either a douche or you're not. It's kind of that simple. Either people like you or you're a douche. And I went, you know what? It's kind of that simple. And like amongst dudes, like, are you a cool guy? I can get past all your other flaws if you're a cool guy. Like, can we have a beer? All right,
See,
yeah.
It seems like Kyler is more the type that he's to himself. He's probably got a really hot chick he fucks. Or that he's married, you know, whatever, his girlfriend, whatever, from when he was at Oklahoma.
Hello, Haven. How are you doing?
Oh, welcome back.
Repeat offender.
I wonder how the Maui Invitational was over Thanksgiving. But I mean, I know she's not in Maui, right?
Nah, maybe she took a little Thanksgiving vacation to the Invitational.
Who knows?
You ready to give us out some picks, man?
Let's get to it.
Because we have been going, and I have some hot and ready Taco Bell outside waiting on me.
You go ahead and you get that chalupa, okay? Are you a chalupa guy?
Yeah, that's actually what I got.
Okay.
That's like the only thing I eat from there.
I went 10 years without eating Taco Bell because I got sick from the one in the Western freshman year. Me and Deshaun Green.
Absolutely, I know Deshaun Green. He slammed Gambles.
No, Gamble slammed him.
That's right. I get it mixed up.
They did it right there in front of me and Jude's room. But
Sorry, Gambles.
Not Jude, Julian Turner. I shouldn't have given his government.
It's fine.
Julian. Yeah, I just don't want to call him that word.
Yeah, he got to change his nickname.
He probably should, but he won't. Nonetheless, let's get into this college football championship week 6-pack. And we're going to start with not the most important game, but the game that means the most to us. We got LSU at Georgia. Georgia being the home team, because obviously Georgia is not at home, even though they are at home. Some people used to call it Alabama East. I think now just call it dog. What would that be?
West?
South? Southeast?
No, it's west.
Athens is
Northeast.
No,
South.
Athens is to the east because it's closer to Stone Mountain.
Yeah.
Dog, yes, but it would be, you're right, Southwest. Dog Swats. How about that, baby? We're going to go ahead and start off with this one, and we're going to do something uncharacteristic.
Hold on, I got something for you. No. It's our vacation home.
There we go. The vacation home for Dog Nation. We're going to do this one a little bit different. This is probably the first time. Hey, she caught it.
We put the baby to bed. I'm AC Lee now.
Semi his name, right? But all right, we're gonna start this one a little bit different than normal because I typically will just do a spread, and then typically even if I don't do a spread, I'll say like 1H or whatever.
Okay.
For this Georgia game, I've got a very special bet that I actually love.
Give it to me.
We're gonna take under 1Q.5 on LSU's points. I think that Georgia shuts them out in the first quarter because their offense isn't very good to begin with, and Georgia has the best defense in the nation, and they're going to be so fired up because this is a fun fact. Kirby Smart he's only won one SEC title. He's only won one. I think he's 1-3.
Well, he said he's like I've won either I've won almost or I've won as many SEC championships as I have.
It is. He's only won one. He's only won one. And if there's anything that he wants to do is, first of all, do something that the team that won the Natty last year didn't do. So win the national championship. Win the SEC championship first. I think that the defense comes out fired up. They fuck with Daniels. I think Brian Kelly looks more like Brian Kelly at Notre Dame coaching against Kirby Smart, just like he did at Notre Dame and at Between the Hedges when Notre Dame played Georgia. I think that he shuts the offense out in the first quarter. So give me LSU's under 1Q.5. LSU will not score in the first quarter. That's what it's set at. It's set at 0.5 points. I don't think they get a field goal. I think Georgia controls the ball. They shut them out and go 3 and out. And then Georgia gets the ball and controls it again and scores again, whether that's 10-0 or whatever. And then LSU, even if they score on their next drive, they don't get it before the 15 minutes is out. So let's go under 0.5 for LSU's points in the first quarter.
Okay.
Next game, we are going to get to the most important game of the week. Utah at USC, which is a Friday night game in Vegas. What a great job by the Pac-12. Because they could have easily played the game in LA, because that stadium is unbelievable. It's better than the Vegas stadium. But I think doing it in Vegas is so much better. Wish the game wasn't on Friday because College Game Day would have went there for that.
You know why they're going to Vegas. You know these guys want an excuse to go gamble and pay hookers.
Yeah, man. Plus, who knows? Somebody might have some money on it in the game. But nonetheless, Utah at USC, or just Utah v. USC. I got to tell you, I like the points here for Utah. Give me Utah plus 3.5. I don't see a scenario where this game doesn't come down to the final possession. So I really like the 3.5 for Utah because I think that they can easily win the game.
Won the first one.
They did, and like last year, they beat Oregon twice. They blew doors on Oregon both times. So I like God, I didn't realize UNC was so bad. But give me Utah plus 3.5.
Okay.
Next game, another college football implicated playoff game. Kind of. Purdue at Michigan. I like under 52. I don't know how Purdue really scores on Michigan, and I don't think Michigan will run it up. The last time that Jim Harbaugh played in the Big Ten championship last year, very low scoring game. And I like the same theme here. I see more of a dominant 31-10 type of game. So give me the under 52 in this one. Indiana is rolling. Oh, man, I'm so upset. UTSA, next game, North Carolina at UTSA. We're just going to be really simple with this one. They play this conference championship at the home team's field. I like UTSA.
You said, hold on, who's in this game?
North Texas at UTSA.
Oh, I thought you said North Carolina.
Nah, give me UTSA money line. Very simple pick. They're minus 330, but give me UTSA. They're the better. They won the conference last year. I like them again at home. So give me UTSA.
Okay.
Next game. We're going to be put on upset alert here. We got Central Florida at Tulane. I like Gus to get them one. I don't think Tulane's all that good. They weren't very good last year. They're having somewhat of a dream season. I think that they lose to Central Florida. I think Central Florida takes over that spot for that New Year's Six Bowl because that's basically what's at stake here. Give me Central Florida, the team that we're familiar with that typically does it, and you're getting them at plus odds. So I like Central Florida and Gus Malzahn. Our final game of this six-pack, we got Kansas State at TCU. I was leaning back and forth. I'm going to roll with TCU money line because they have it at such good odds, but I would not be surprised at all if Kansas State wins the game. I've got to see them play a few times this year. They blew Oklahoma out at Oklahoma. Not that Oklahoma was good this year. They were 6-6. I mean, they were mediocre, but still, that's eye-raising when at the time Oklahoma was like number 6, and they went in there and they beat them by 2 touchdowns.
All right, so we got LSU under first quarter.
0.5.
0.5.
Yeah.
Utah plus 3.5. Purdue and Michigan under 52.
Mm-hmm.
UTSA over North Texas on the money line. Mm-hmm. UCF on the money line. And TCU on the money line.
That's correct.
Oh, man, that's a cold 6-pack. Go ahead and pop you one.
I like it. I really do.
All right, man. Let's get to the pro 6-pack. Yeah. Haven AC Slater. I used to get caught that a lot. I have appreciation for Saved by the Bell. I used to kind of be a jock like AC Slater.
Yeah, you're a jock. You were a young jock, were you?
Oh yeah, it was going down.
Right. But let's get to this NFL 6. And I'm going to be honest with you, I like this one a little bit more than even my college one for championship week because now we're going to get to find out some shit. And disclaimer, we left the Falcons out of it this week because I feel like every week when I do the Falcons, it just doesn't happen. So we're going to leave the Falcons game alone. But we'll start off with a game that's under a lot of people's radars. 2 teams that are perennial top 5 picks. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. Nice win, Jacksonville, last week. I think Detroit's still better than them, and I think that Detroit gets it done at home on the money line. I like Detroit. I think Dan Campbell, similar to kind of the end of last year, he's got so much respect. He's got so much respect from the guys. So give me Detroit on the money line at home because it's a pick 'em. This game's a pick 'em, so I really do like them at home against Jacksonville. Let's go next game. Commanders at Giants. I'm loving the upset here. They got the Giants as dogs. Washington's pretty hot. This game's got a lot of playoff implications to it because it pretty much will swap out a playoff spot. And then they get to play each other in 2 weeks. But I like the Giants to get the first matchup at least at home because they almost have to. And they're dogs. So we'll welcome plus money. And they played on Thursday, so they got a semi-bye themselves. So let's roll with the Giants on the money line. Next, probably the game of the week, the Dolphins at the 49ers. Such an interesting dynamic. McDaniels against Shanahan. Jeff Wilson returns to San Francisco, especially after Elijah Mitchell is out for like 6 to 8 weeks again. So he's basically done. So Christian McCaffrey's going to be getting the lion's share.
He's gonna get hurt
Give
soon.
me the Dolphins +4. I don't know how they don't cover the spread. I think such a good matchup. To me, these are, and maybe it's the Shanahan effect. I can argue, man, these are the two best teams in the NFL.
And I won't argue with you.
So give me Miami +4 and what's going to be a really good game. Next, I cannot believe that this spread is this way for the home team. I would probably, of all the picks on this, if you wanted to just bet on one thing, please run up to your local bookie and drop as much money as possible on this. Jets at Minnesota Vikings. They're giving the Vikings -3 and it's plus money. Maybe there's something I don't know. Sauce Gardner, if there's going to be a game this year in the NFL where he actually does get abused, it'll probably be on Sunday. 1 o'clock, Kirk Cousins probably is going to look pretty fucking good with Justin Jefferson against
Jay Jettis is him.
Let's take the Vikings -3. I really like them at home in this type of situation, and Mike White comes back to earth. Next game, we got the Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. They got the over-under set at 50.5. You know exactly what direction we're going in, folks. Give me that goddamn over because it makes no fucking sense for it to not go over. I expect all these points to get scored in this game. I expect this game to be in the 60s, maybe even the 70s. Very high scoring affair. Give me the over 50.5. And then our final game of this week's 6-pack. Little bit of an upset. Not on the money line, but the spread, because a lot of people, they've played so bad it just doesn't make any sense for them to honestly not cover this spread at home. We got the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Aaron Donald's been ruled out. Disclaimer. And Matt Stafford is supposed to play this week. Let me get the Rams +7.5. I mean, I'd love to see them, I guess, get blown out. When does it end? They're giving them 7.5 at home in a division matchup. And I get how good Seattle has looked. Sean McVay himself has got to put his foot down, because if they honestly can't cover this spread, they might not win a game the rest of the year. So even with their best defensive player out and arguably the best defensive player in the league, I'm going to take the Rams +7.5, and that's not buying points.
All right, so we got Lions on the money line, Giants on the money line, Dolphins +4, Vikings -3, Chargers and Raiders over 50.5, Rams +7.5.
I love it.
You like it, I love it. Now let me give you my favorite 3 for the week.
Lee's 3.
Yeah, we definitely got to record that piece. Give me Utah +3.5. I don't know if I'm betting with my head here or my heart, but I want Utah to actually win, and I'm gonna bet them to win outright myself.
Would you rather play Ohio State or USC as Georgia? Because the assumption is that's how that's going to go. Assuming that TCU wins as well.
They're both soft, and we'll push them around.
I agree.
Dolphins +4. And Vikings -3.
Okay. So you're taking do you not think at plus money, is that not a little ridiculous?
Bro, even if it wasn't plus money, I'd take it. But because it's plus money, like I'm probably calling that in before I go to bed tonight so I don't lose it.
Man, they should win that game by double digits.
I don't think the Jets are as good as their record says. And I know the Vikings aren't as good as their record says, but nah, bro. Like Jay Jettis, Kirk Cousins, 1 o'clock, please.
Not at home. And then, no offense, I get it. Mike White's probably better than Zach Wilson, but I mean, come on, he's still a bro. He's really the third string quarterback. If we want to,
Mike White is better than Zach Wilson is like saying Olive Garden is better than Applebee's. Okay, I don't want that shit.
That's a hell of a way to end this.
All right, man. It's been good. I'll see you Saturday morning, late afternoon or early afternoon.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, dog. I'll at you.
We're out.
Yep. Hey, so since we did a 3-hour podcast, I'm going to cut this up into 2 parts. So part 1 will be coming to you tomorrow. You'll be getting part 1, then you'll get part 2. We're going to divide it up, the culture, the less football stuff on the front end, and then we'll do the football piece on the back end. All right, man. Hope you guys enjoy. I'm out. Hey, this is part 2 where we're talking football. AC Lee and Parlay Pete. Yeah, I know this sounds crazy if you're watching it live, but it's just me recording some stuff that I'm gonna like actually throw into it while I'm recording. But yeah, we talked a bunch of football on here. We had a great show, man. Having a good time. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Y'all have a good night. You have a good night there, Miss Haven. Enjoy Hawaii. I'm hating.